Well, let's get started with episode 306 of the Current Gen podcast. My name is Tim, here with Kyle and Dan. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How we doing?
Hello.
Oh, yeah, double guns.
Hello,
Double
hello.
guns. Nice. Doing okay. Hey, listen, Jeff might join us, might make a surprise appearance. We are hoping he's able to make it because today we're going to be talking about best story as our primary list to do a shared kind of debated ranking of. And I do know that between all of us, that's one of the things we value the highest in our games. It's not the only thing. We talked about gameplay last week. You could argue equal, maybe even more so important in a gaming experience. Depends on, it's very subjective. But story is one of the most important things to keep you locked into a game, especially a lengthy game that's got a ton going on, that's going to take dozens and dozens of hours. You better have good characters. You better have a good story. So we're going to talk about story today. So we're hoping that Jeff can join us for that. And if not, we're going to vote for him. We're going to pretend like we know exactly what he thinks about all these
He
games.
told me he
and
was
we're
Death
gonna-
Stranding for everything, so
That's what he
told
said.
me.
Okay, cool.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have the documents, but that's what he told me.
It's funny that you say
That's
that,
canon.
Kyle, because that's what I said last week when my asshole exploded, because that was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
And
How's
it's
that going?
actually ironic because Jeff just texted me right now and said my asshole exploded. So
Oh, it's
what comes
contagious.
It's
around goes around.
viral.
Or what goes around
Okay.
comes around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That really
Um,
reached from the New England area all the way down to the coast. You know what I mean? Like
As
that
long as
really
it stays in
stretched
that like
far.
atmosphere or whatever, that's fine.
That's why they call us massholes. You know?
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
good.
why.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, I'm glad you're
Um,
alive, and I'm glad your voice is working. For those who don't know, we joked around about Dan's. We were guessing in the most horrific and inappropriate ways possible what would probably happen to you, even though we knew you absolutely had throat issues, bronchitis type issues, and you couldn't really speak. You were hacking up a lung. So I'm glad to hear you functioning again. It sounds like
Thank
you're
you.
doing much better.
Thank you. Yes, my throat was exploding. My asshole was exploding. I
we
actually
get tubes mixed up
actually
here.
got-
That's what we do at Current Gen. We just get tubes mixed up.
you switch. Yeah.
That's our whole thing. Dyslexia
I actually-
of the tubes, organic tubes.
I actually died for about 13 seconds and then they resuscitated me. So I'm okay. I can confirm that when you die, nothing happens. It's just nothingness. So
That's fair. Yeah.
Bleak.
yeah. So
it's
Tim,
not,
I'm very
it's
sorry.
Not Trump at the pearly gates. It's not Trump at the pearly gates welcoming you in,
Oh man.
checking who you voted for.
Thank God no. Thank God no.
No, I don't have my
So,
papers on me.
yeah. No family gathering, at the clouds when you die. It's
interesting.
just nothing. Nothing happens, yeah.
Yeah, that's too
There's
bad.
no family reunion.
Bummer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you might want to start telling people about that because there's some misconceptions out there.
Okay.
I wanted to highlight
I'll
my
tweet it.
afternoon coffee cup today because it's one that's worth highlighting. There we go.
Wow.
Mm.
It's a
It looks
my
just like
respect,
you.
The beard coffee, doesn't
It
it?
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
does.
Thank you. But yeah, this is one of those.
Yeah.
We're recording in the afternoon. Usually we are late evening, late night recorders, but just the way timing worked out, you can tell from my background with how bright the sun is coming in through my office windows here. We're right in the middle of the day, and it's one of those mornings too where it's just slow move. Everyone's moving super slowly, and we didn't have a lot in the schedule this morning just because of the way our schedules worked out, which was great. But man, I've just been slow to get moving today. So my coffee is happening right now at nearly 1:30 my time. So.
Yeah. I may break away to go get a green tea in a little bit, so I feel I haven't had
actually,
I haven't had my caffeine yet.
Speaking of green tea,
Yeah, what do you got?
I've these past couple weeks I got a Vault-Tec mug.
Okay.
Vault-Tec.
That's cool. I like
Very
that.
nice.
Been drinking green tea this past couple weeks a lot with honey. I've never been
That's what I
a
do.
hot tea guy.
Yeah.
I like iced tea.
But now?
I like flavored iced teas.
But do you like
But,
it now? Did you like it any more now or not really?
Yes.
Just out of
Well, I
necessity?
found this one particular brand because I like to Google around sometimes, be like, what's the best version of blah, blah, blah. And I found this site that was like, this is really good. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. And it's actually really great. Because
Yeah.
I'm also not super green tea. I prefer, because iced tea is usually black tea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Usually.
So-
Yeah.
I usually do that type of tea. So green tea is kind of new
Sweetened
for me.
iced
but
tea,
this
Dan,
with a
or
couple of-
unsweetened iced tea?
Oh, definitely sweetened. Yeah. I like
Okay,
peach
good.
iced
Got
tea.
a little bit of
Give
the
me some
South
peach
in
iced
ya.
tea. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
peach is good.
southern as hell too. Yeah. Nice. I like that. Yeah.
I heard you. I heard you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. It is.
Yeah. This is very delightful, so I'm enjoying it. And green tea is good for you, so I'm just winning.
Green tea's great.
all
So
around.
I started drinking it. I'm trying to do 3 cups a day. And the antioxidants are natural, like fat burners, and it attacks like your fat reserves. So like it's not it doesn't burn your fuel. It burns your reserves. So if you eat that or drink that, and up your vegetable.
Do you add
intake,
anything to it, Kyle, or do you just go kind
honey?
of straight?
Dan said
green
it.
tea?
That's exactly how
Some
you
honey?
take it. Hot with honey. Yeah, local honey.
That's the way to
Get the
do
Hot
it.
with
allergies
honey.
down.
Nice. I do like green tea. They kind of had recently, especially over the Christmas break, I started to feel that scratchy throat, so I started drinking more tea. We had this apple cinnamon flavor that was actually quite good.
Ooh.
I forget the brand, but
Yeah,
that was really good.
that sounds good
as well. But
This
it's
is a
also
real
very
fun-
like
sounds
festive.
delightful.
It
It's a
felt
real
like it felt
fathers of the grind
Christmassy.
conversation. It's a real dad conversation. I love it. We're having this is real. I love top of the show
right.
material.
We're
like
doing
this.
some nostalgia.
Well, just
We're
wait.
doing some
I love
nostalgia.
it.
Just wait until we
Because
talk about best stories and games and where we cried the most. Then it's gonna get real serious.
Right.
Which is an old,
And then
weirdos
one of
talking
us
about
has to do one of
teas and
these.
coffees and crying.
Yeah.
Just sleeping, just falling
I
asleep.
love it. I love morning rituals and tea, and I'm a big tea
Same.
head. And I like coffee. I just can't drink much of it. It's too acidic. But
Yeah.
love it. Love everything about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. I don't recommend coffee and Taco Bell in the same window of time during the day. It's just not.
I don't
a good
recommend Taco
combo.
Bell
Well, I mean-
ever for your body.
I agree.
You might as well be
Sure.
introducing nuclear warfare to your body.
It's been a long time since I've had Taco Bell.
Listen, sometimes you just
I-
got to do like a
I like
full
Taco Bell
flush,
too, yeah.
flush everything out.
If you're
Instead
looking
of-
for a full flush, yeah, go to the Bell.
Yeah, a lot of
right.
times they give you like the special drink to clear things out before colonoscopy. Just go to Taco Bell.
Sure.
That'll do the job. Like,
Yeah,
Sure.
it's the same thing.
Oh,
Save yourself
yeah.
$25 off your insurance with that.
That won't spike whatever
yeah.
readings they're looking for at all.
No.
It's gonna be fine.
No.
But this machine's
Your
saying
insides
you're
are not gonna
dying right
be
now. You're really going through it.
inflamed.
You're-
They're not going to be
You are
inflamed or
dead.
anything.
All right, well, guys, let's get into our Game of the Year 2025 discussion. We are in part 3, as it turns out, of 4. Next week, we'll wrap things up with our favorite overall game and most anticipated game of this year and stuff like that. And then we'll also do our last listen to a couple music tracks, which we'll do a few more of those today as well.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to say.
But I wanted to kick things off with some of our personal picks for the most addicting games of the year. This is one of those things where it's the kind of experience that you just can't wait to get back to. You're like willing to give up sleep or time hanging out with friends. You got to get back to it. It's the kind of thing where it's like, I should watch this game or this show, or there's another game I really wanted to beat, but I can't stop going back to this one. It's that kind of game that has that pull that keeps pulling you back in. And there's a lot of games that could fit this bill, whether it's a puzzle game or a sports game, but it could be a even more linear game that you're like, I got to replay it. I got to do New Game Plus. I just can't. It's just too fun. There's all different kinds of games that you could tab as addicting. So everyone's going to kind of look at that a little bit differently, I think, for themselves. But so I've got a list of some of mine. And before I get into ones that actually fully released this year, I got to just give a quick honorable mention shout out. Doesn't count because this game came out 10 years ago. But No Man's Sky, still super addicting to me. And their update this year where they released the Corvettes and a brand new expedition and all that, like, it pulled me back in hard. And that game is very addicting. And still kind of a crazy comeback story from a game that released with a lot of expectation and a lot of criticism. A lot of it was fair, by the way, even though I had a blast with that game. But they didn't give up, and they kept putting out free update after free update. And
I would argue they've
thrilled to see
over
it.
delivered at this point.
Way over.
Right?
Yeah. You guys can stop.
What are they,
now,
like,
you know,
32 updates or something
just-
like that? Like
It's a
they've like
lot.
over delivered at this point. I
It's
mean,
a lot.
in the nicest way possible. That is so
That's right.
complimentary.
That's right. So that's my honorable mention of, like, when I think about games that I really had trouble just putting down so I could focus on other stuff. No Man's Sky was the first one that came to mind, even though it didn't come out this year. So kind of an unfair, not really 2025
It's
pick,
still
but
new.
it was
Yeah.
because of their update. Like this year, they
Yeah,
put out
new
a couple.
update,
Like,
yeah.
last year as well, but this year their major updates really hooked me all over again. But so that's just a quick honorable mention before we get into some of these other ones. So, Dan, what comes to mind for you first for most addicting game of 2025?
I had to look real quick, just like what I played. So none of the ones I'd say this year would necessarily fall under that, but I obviously very much enjoyed what I played this year. But when I had my panic attack back in June, it was a little tricky for me to like figure out like what I'm in the mood for because of just my brain being all over the place. But the one thing that did help me, well, actually a couple of them. So I just remember the other one. One of them playing with my wife, which we've played dozens of times. Stardew Valley, of course. That's
I
just
can see how that's. Yeah.
just an absolute comfort. Like every time we jump into that, it just, I don't know, there's something so nostalgic of it about it, but like it's not an older game. Like it does make me feel like when I'm playing that, like I'm a kid again, like playing SNES because of obviously the pixelated. It's got that old style, but it just there's like an energy about it that just feels very old, but like is a newer game. So there's just there's just something very therapeutic about that game. And I'm glad it exists.
They just put out a big update too, I think,
wonderful.
somewhat recently, right? Didn't they just do an update for this game?
There was a Switch 2 update.
This dude's crazy because it's just one guy. It's just one guy
Switch
who's
2 got it up to parity with like the PC and the console versions of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
there
yeah,
may
it's
have
just
been another
one dude.
like PC update too. Is it really just one dude? I always forget that.
It's
yeah, that's
one dude.
absolutely crazy.
One dude. And he's working on a new game.
His next one is that
He's been
Witchbrook
working
one,
on
right?
it.
It's that kind of like
it's a
wizard school
it's
one?
a Haunted Chocolatier.
Oh, the Chocolatier one. Okay, that Witchbrook is something else.
Yes, Haunted
Witchbrook is is very Stardew coded, but yes, it is.
Okay.
It's published by the same publisher, I think. It was a Chucklefish or something.
That's where
like
I'm confused. Okay, so. But his next one is the Chocolatier one. Yeah, the Haunted Chocolatier. Okay.
Yeah, which looks
like
delightful.
Willy Wonka like.
Yeah. I wanted to show a clip of this too for those of you who are watching. Of course, you're seeing it. But if you're listening, I just brought up just footage because when you might see images of Stardew Valley and just think it's another game that wants to be Super Nintendo era, whatever. And to a degree, that's kind of true. But if you watch it in motion, it actually is incredibly detailed for being this pixelated style. It's really beautiful. As you go through each season, it's so cozy. Like as Dan's describing it, it is such a good cozy fix. And when you need that kind of mental break from high stress, but you still want to sort of escape into gaming a little bit, like all of us like to do from time to time, dude, this game absolutely fits that bill. This is an excellent. And even though it didn't come out in 2025, it's another one that's a good example of a good one to return to, just like No Man's Sky, to be honest.
And like aside from the big updates, like even just like little visual tweaks, like I noticed when we hopped back into it more recently, there was like extra like details in the town. Like so when it's wintertime, like there was like lights on the trees that weren't there before. Characters actually have winter clothing now. Like they actually have like coats and different clothes when it's winter season, which is cool. So like even just like little details like that, like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Like, you know, him still putting in that little bit of effort, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And the other one is Celeste, which is a punishing platformer because it's very challenging, but there's just something very comfortable with that too. I don't know what the music is unbelievable. So that's a big part of it too, I think. But it is that thing of like, because it's so quick to, you know, kind of circle back into the next, like you die and then you pretty much come right back immediately. So that's a big important factor with these type of games. Like if you died and then it's like, even though this sounds silly, like let's say it was like 10 seconds you waited, it's like something about that just throws the rhythm off, you know? Like, so it's just the fact that you come back so quickly and it's like, let me try that again. And you get better every time. And just trying to learn the routes and do things. I was trying to go for the platinum. And I got to a point where I don't know if I can, because I got to like the secret like state level world or whatever you want to call it that I wasn't even aware existed. And there's things that you learn there that they don't tell you in the game because you don't need to know it. So like suddenly now there's like new mechanics that are like super advanced, and like I literally spent like hours trying to do this one and I couldn't do it.
So I
don't know if I actually ever will
playing this game.
But that's the thing. I actually didn't even feel that stressed. It was like a good distraction with what I had going on. So like
a challenge. Which is great.
Yeah, because I'm very stubborn too. Like with these type of things, I'm very stubborn. I'm like I need to do it because my wife doesn't get it. She'll see me like do the thing over and over, and she's like, I don't understand how you're not getting bored or annoyed or anything. I'm like, I have to do it. I got to do this. But I love this game. This game is wonderful. Yeah, just big comfort for me too.
Love that. Totally agree. Those are excellent picks for most addicting games, even if they weren't released this year. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, totally agree with that. Kyle, what jumps out to you for some of your most addicting games this year?
Piggybacking off of Stardew Valley and games that, you know, more of a remake than anything. Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar was...
Yes.
I don't think I've ever fell this hard into a game, like ever. Like I this is my first like full-blown farming simulator. I played Stardew Valley, but there's more things going on in Stardew Valley than there is Story of Seasons. Like Story of Seasons is strictly farming. Like you can go into dungeons and like fight things with swords in Stardew Valley. There's a lot more going on, but like I never thought I would be interested in this game. I think I put like 90 hours into it, and like I don't even want to say. I think it was like 2 weeks, maybe it was 3 weeks. I don't want to talk about it. Let's not talk about these dark times. But
Don't feel ashamed.
that's
Don't
the
feel ashamed.
definition of of addicting,
Addicting.
right? Like I literally couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
I was at work, like sneaking off to my car, like, oh, let me just do a day real quick.
Yeah, let me just do a couple more
Like
rounds of selling
it
stuff.
was really bad. Yeah, I had intervention. It was crazy. No, but it was. I mean, this game really did it for me. Whatever it was, the loop and everything like that. I just wanted to go one more day. I just wanted to do one more week so I could get to the bazaar and sell a bunch of stuff because I had like upgrades in mind and yada yada. I loved like failing at planning, my whole first season change. I'm like, wait, all my plants are suddenly dying now because like the plants are out of season, so they just don't grow anymore. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I have to start like planning out my days, and it is a game. You have to have like a piece of paper for, or at least something that you're keeping track of, so you can do the math out to make sure that like all of your plants and vegetables are going to grow at the right time. And I've just never thought I would be interested in a game like this. Again, even like what was that other game that came out that was like a farming sim and like a dating sim, and it was on the Switch too. You and I played it, Tim.
Guardians of Azuma.
Guardians of Azuma, yeah. Rune Factory.
Rune Factory.
That's what yeah,
Rune
thank
Factory,
you. Yeah.
yes.
It's got a little more going on. Like I had more to attach to. So I'm like, oh, there's like a combat system, yada yada. But this is the actual one that caught me. It would strip away all the things I like about video games and just give me the farming, and all of a sudden I'm smitten in a way of a game has never made me before. So that was unhealthy and crazy. Big addiction wise.
Kyle, don't feel bad. My
unhealthy.
wife and I are still playing through it. We're still playing through it.
Like, yeah, I'm still picking up every once in a while, and I'm just like, but I can see myself being like, oh, there was 20 hours. That was crazy. How did that happen? The other one is, and it's my comfort food. Every year, there's always a Yakuza game. So, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza. Talk about a loop I'm just comfortable in. So, like, I just know exactly how to tackle a map to like get the most out of all the side stories and all this content and stuff like that. It's so easy for me to like be able to judge out like what to do next and everything like that. And there's such a turn off my brain experience in terms of like I don't ever feel like I'm like solving puzzles or anything like that. It's just like I know whenever I pick up this game, there's going to be no barriers for me. There's going to be zero barriers, and I can just like cruise my way straight through it. Even though the combat can get tough sometimes and stuff like that, I've been playing these games for so long, like the combat's just second nature to me. So very, very, very love this series, and this one had a fun pirate hook that just made me want to be like, okay, I got to see what the next stupid, like, justify this concept more, please, in every scene. And every scene does a really good job of making the entire dumb pirate concept like believable is not the right word, but you buy into it. You're like, okay, I'm buying into whatever this nonsense is, and really good loop to this game for me. So those are my two big ones.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I had to pull that up too because people need to see when you hear pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Yeah, it's just like, what are you talking about?
All those things. It's all of those things happening simultaneously, and literally. I mean, yeah. When you look it up, you're like, oh, it is just pirate Yakuzas in Hawaii. Okay, like, yeah, they named it right.
Yeah, that's what I want in real life. I want that in real life.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of games that hooked me this year. College football got me again this summer, although I didn't spend as much time as I did with 25 because it truly wasn't a huge upgrade over last year, just new rosters and tweaked visuals and gameplay, so a little improved, but really hoping that in 27 they improve because I love the RPG elements. It really is RPG-esque when you're recruiting players, trying to keep players, hiring coaches, leveling them up, giving them the stats, going to practice, all those things. Super fun. Especially as a football fan. So that one definitely had its hooks on me for a little while there. But I also wanted to highlight this one, and we've talked about it a lot with other categories. We'll talk about it more with the upcoming categories. But it's got to be Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I was so hooked on this game for so long, and I'm just kind of skimming through a review from Mortismo Gaming here. But you can see the stats that you get from things that you decide to do. And by the way, part of the addicting nature of this is, okay, I'm going to play it again, and which I haven't done yet, but I'm going to play it again. I'm going to try focusing on this instead of that because I really went really clear direction to try to make my build a certain way. You can't get everything in one playthrough. You can't experience every skill or ability. If you want to focus in on something over something else, then you're going to give up some strength somewhere else. So that's just how it goes. Whether it's speech, strength, thievery, all those kind of things. So, and as you can see right here, these little checks, like you need to have either charm or intimidation or speech, so it's, I mean, very RPG, of course, but to me that made it more addicting because of what you're seeing here with making your own potions was always super addicting to me. Like I love that, making poisons, making healing potions, buffs. This stuff always got
Actually
me
seeing him
in this
doing it,
game.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then
Yeah.
getting
And
into a
even
flow
just,
state where you're like, yeah, I'm adding this, I'm
yeah.
adding that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's pretty fun.
Same with this, the blacksmithing, but like, yeah, even grinding up the flowers in the little, like, what do they call that? The little mortar. What's
Pestle
it
and
called?
mortar.
Is it mortar?
yeah,
Pistol mortar.
pestle
Yeah.
mortar. Yeah.
Even just the sound effect of that, I was like, this is the most satisfying thing I think I've ever heard. I just love it. So yeah, this game had me hooked in all kinds of ways, and I ended up avoiding finishing the last couple missions for at least several days, maybe even over a week, even though I was at that point because I wanted to keep exploring, find extra things I hadn't gotten
Yeah.
to yet. So I kept going to talk
Didn't
to
want it
people
to
I had
end.
missed. I didn't want it to end. So to me, that fits that feeling exactly, Dan, is kind of what fit the most addicting for me, was that I didn't want this game to be over. So I was like,
Yeah.
I have a problem. I don't want this game to end. I think I might be addicted to it. So certainly for a period of
I know
time
that all
there,
too well.
I was absolutely hooked on that game. So that's the main one for me. There's others too that definitely hooked me in my attention, but that one was the most significant. And it was kind of surprising too, because usually those kind of games, I want to get to the end of the story, I want to see the credits roll, and just kind of lean back and think about it, like, man, what a ride that was, and that happened. But there was also this added element of, I want to do those things, but first I'm hooked on all these mechanics. Let me do all the mechanic stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
at least that's how it went for me, and I think for a lot of people, I think that game to me was like Warhorse's Witcher 3, because CDPR made good games with Witcher 1 and 2. Those were like
Yeah.
really well loved. People loved those games, but they certainly had their flaws and they weren't really mainstream. Witcher 3, I feel like, was their moment of like, they became legit in the eyes of most
I agree.
gamers.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think Kingdom
Yeah.
Come Deliverance 2, maybe not to that degree. I'm not saying it's as successful financially or anything like that, but it feels like The Witcher 3 for this studio. Like, it's much more broadly appealing. People finally are trying it. The first game was really tough to get into and more obtuse, and it took some updates to really get it to a place where I think people could enjoy it to that same level. And this one
Mm-hmm.
just kind of increased across the board on all those things. So anyway, that one is mine for most addicting, for sure.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right. Well, let me ask you guys this. Did you play, and I already know the answer to some of this, but I'll let you share about it. Did you play many remakes or remasters this year?
I could make a top 10 list, Tim. That's how many remakes and remasters
As I'm looking through them, Kyle, I was like, Kyle played most of these. I think Dan played a number of these. Guys, I only played 2 remakes or remasters this whole year.
Wow.
2. So my list is
And you were
very,
playing
very
new
short.
games. Playing new games.
Playing a lot of new games.
You were beating
But the
Kingdom
other-
Come
the other thing-
Deliverance.
There were a lot of amazing remakes and remasters out this year, some of which I am still sad that I haven't played before this conversation, because I'm like, that was the whole point. I should have played them before this, but I know I'll get to them, at least some of them. But just wanted to highlight 2 for me real quick, and I'll let you guys talk, because I think you've got a lot more. At least between the 2 of you, you'll have a lot more than I do. But for me, actually, I'm just going to highlight one, because I barely played the other one, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be on one of your lists. So I'll just highlight one, and it won't be a surprise to any of you who hear us talk about games. When you hear me talk about some of my favorite games, this won't be a surprise at all. It was the Suikoden 1 and 2 remasters. Shocking, I know.
Huh?
I know.
What?
So I actually, one of the things I've been playing the last couple weeks, here and there, I've been dabbling in a couple different games on my Switch too, but I've been playing this a little bit. The first one, trying to work my way through the first one again. And to me, it still holds up just because of the nostalgia factor. And I know it's very old school. It's very like 90s RPG, because that's when it released. So it fits that bill completely. But I love these games. I do think it's legitimate to criticize them for not being enough of an upgrade or an improvement in some ways. I get that. But generally speaking, I think they perform great. I think the pixel art and the environments still look fine. I didn't need them to be, I don't know, brought
Yeah.
to some crazy level. And I think what they did to touch them up was just right. So I really enjoy it. I think the music still sounds great. I think the dialogue is still mostly really good. So there's some translation things here and there with games like this, especially from Konami back in the 90s, but not a lot. Most of it translates just fine, and it works great. So yeah, this was definitely my favorite remake slash. It was technically a remaster collection of these two games. So I still want 3. I want someone to remaster 3 and put it out where we can actually play it.
I think they should do 3, 4, and 5.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do 3, 4, and 5 also.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Do all of it. Someone do that.
Do all of it.
Figure it out.
So anyways, that's mine. Dan, let's go to you. You can name 1 or 2 or however many you want. What are some of the remakes or remasters this year that jumped out to you?
So I only beat 1, which is the obvious one, which is Final Fantasy Tactics, of course.
What?
Which was what? Huh? Yeah, Final Fantasy. Shocker. I know. I'm so glad I finally.
I'll make sure mine's on brand then for my first pick.
Okay.
We're all going on brand.
I know what it is.
Exactly what yours is going to be too, Kyle. I've got yours queued up.
It's going to be the second one that I say. But I'm so glad this exists because people like kept being like, please, just for the love of God, release this in some way, shape, or form. Like this is one of the highlights of the series, and it's a spinoff. But like to many Final Fantasy fans, this is their favorite Final Fantasy. So it was pretty obvious.
It's never good when something like this is like entombed, like on an old console that's hard to
100%
get your hands on. Yeah,
100%. But yeah, just what a wonderful experience, and I just really I super enjoyed it. So now, and it makes me more interested in because technically the guy who created this, he did was a Tactics Ogre first, which there is that remaster of. Which I actually got for Christmas. I asked for it for Christmas because I wanted a physical copy of it. So I'm gonna do that at some point. Because I want to see. Because some people actually think that one's even better. So
the story in this game is better.
A lot of people think that.
Their mechanics might be better in Tactics Ogre. So, but
yeah. But I'm definitely like interested to see, kind of like where it started, and then like him going to this and comparing them will be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a wonderful game and just looks awesome. Just really, really.
And by the way, Dan, you are not alone in this. Like a lot of places have nominated this for best game of the year, or in some places at least best RPG. So it's gotten nominations, even though it's a remake, just because it's been so long. So for a lot of people, it is a new game. So
yeah. Just glad it exists again. And then my second one, which is Kyle's choice, obviously, which is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So I didn't get super far into it just because obviously it was kind of chaotic this year with other things. I forget what I was playing, like focusing on when this came out, but yeah, this game like just looks wonderful, looks really sharp. I love the visual I would say that visually it's a remake, right? But then like mechanically, probably leans more remaster.
They did the Unreal 5 layering thing.
Yeah,
I imagine.
Yeah.
However people want to feel about that. So.
Right. I think it looks sharp. Like
every once in a while, you'll see some PS2 animations, and you're like,
sure.
But like,
just look at this. Like, this looks so good.
Yeah.
I mean,
it looks. Yeah, it looks
like
good.
The forces never look more detailed. Like it's so.
It is hilarious that these guys that are facing your direction in broad daylight can't see you.
There's a cone.
Listen.
Tim, there's a cone of vision. All right.
I think Tim's never snuck around in real life. He's not aware that there's a cone when you sneak around.
His camo index is up, Tim. You don't get it, okay?
My bad. That's my bad. You know what? That's on me.
Tim, you know what? Next time that you're doing paintball out in the woods, just pull out your cell phone and change your camo and see what happens, Just see what happens. But yeah, like great. Cool. I'm more curious what they're doing because, like, obviously this has a specific name, Metal Gear Solid Delta. Like, I don't know what that means, like what they're going to be doing. Hopefully, we get a 2, maybe.
Familiarize with myself what they said, and I still was like, that didn't retain.
Okay.
I don't remember what they said.
That didn't retain.
It means it was.
I mean, I gotta tell you, I always thought because Delta is like the triangle symbol, that was just their creative way of saying 3, because there's like triangles got 3 sides.
That's smart.
Sure.
I just thought it was their.
Like, how would Kojima name this in some weird, obtuse way of naming something?
So
right.
So is Metal Gear Solid 2 just going to be a line? Is it going to be Metal Gear Solid line? Because like
Metal Gear
you
Solid
just
2.
have to draw a line. There's no
line.
shape that has two sides.
Yeah, I'm
right.
trying to
There's
think
no
about
sides.
that.
The
Yeah.
line.
Right.
Yeah.
The line.
And then
yeah,
Metal Gear
the
Solid
line.
1 is just a circle or something. I don't know.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, but Metal Gear Solid's amazing. I'm just glad it's back in our lives, right, Kyle? I'm just glad that Metal Gear's
Yeah,
back
I'm
in our
glad.
lives.
Yeah, and it's like it's unchanged, so it's like it's just exactly how I remember it. Shinier coat of paint. And you could feel however you want. Some people still prefer. It's like I like the way that 3 looks. Me too. I do too. I think
Yeah.
3 looks great. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
However, if you want a photorealistic version of that game that plays really, 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 really good and not like some old PS2 game, this is the better
There you go.
version, you know, in terms of gameplay and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's coming from a purist, just stating facts here. You know what I mean? It
Yep.
does feel better to play. But yes, it is. It's good, man. I liked everything about it. My favorite thing was the scar system.
It still has the longest ladder climb in history, right? That still exists.
Cut any of it. They didn't
Sure.
cut it.
Yeah.
You have to play that whole song, Tim. Yeah. So you got to experience the ladder.
People
at
would
its
have
fullest.
rioted if they did. They would have
Yeah, I
rioted
would
if
have
they shortened the
rioted.
ladder.
I'm like, we're boycotting
Yeah.
this game, everybody.
Yeah.
Get your
absolutely.
phones out, hit the message boards.
Still,
no,
one of the
but
most impactful moments is that river sequence when you're walking through the river with the bodies. Like to me, that's
yeah,
still, like,
yeah.
crazy.
All your decisions staring you in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah, the end fight's great. Again, the scar system though is really cool. By the end of it, your particular snake is beat up in a way that like my snake won't be beat up, you know. So just depending on like,
Oh,
how
really? I didn't
often-
actually know that.
Yeah. So it's like
That's
you'll
cool.
get like facial scars and body scars, and there's plenty of times like where there's narrative reasons where his shirt's off and stuff like that. So like my campfires, and
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
see like all the scars you accumulate, you know, by the end of the
Ah,
game. It's very
okay.
cool. So
Yeah, that is cool.
don't get into frivolous fights. You know, your character will portray it. You know, you might get to the very end, and your big boss is all beat up, and that's not Big Boss. He doesn't get all beat up. Come on, you know, like don't shame him like that. Great
Yeah.
game though, man. Yeah, I hope you get back to it. I hope, I know you
Yeah.
really like 3 as well, Tim. If this ever goes on sale, this would be a good revisit.
I do
for
love
sure.
3. I'm excited to play this when I get a chance to. I knew I wouldn't play it, so I was like, why would I spend full price? I'm gonna wait until I
Yeah,
know I'll
sure.
actually play it.
Yeah. It was a busy time of year too that this came
Not
out.
that it's not worth
For
full
sure.
price. I don't know. I think I've pivoted to that where I'm like, I'll pay full price if I'm like, I'm gonna play this right now. I'll pay full price.
Yeah,
If I
right.
really
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, good pick. I knew this would be
Sucks.
on
You just
both
ran,
your
you just
lists
ran
for
in here
sure.
and started killing everybody.
Yeah, this guy's going
What's this guy doing?
a little bit. Sometimes the
This is
reviewers'
crazy.
gameplay annoys me because I'm like, that's not how you're supposed
Yeah,
to do it.
this is how you're supposed to play that.
He's being unhinged.
Let's turn it
Snake.
off.
He's
We're gonna
not
get
being
upset.
naked
We're gonna get
Snake.
upset. Let's turn it off.
Yeah, he's being unhinged Snake instead of naked Snake.
So Kyle, I know that's
then, yeah,
certainly
aside
gotta be
from-
one of your favorite remakes of this year. Why don't you, if you have a couple, and then Dan, if you've got any more, we can kind of bounce back and forth. Are there any others for you, Kyle?
We
besides
brought up Story of the
Metal Gear?
Season's Grand Bazaar. You know, that was really good.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive was a good revisit. That game is lost on the Wii U. I'm so glad someone was able to save it. If you like mechs, give that one a whirl.
Look how
I
pretty it
really
is,
like
too. Like they really,
it's so
the
cool, man.
visuals
And
just look
it
great.
runs better on Switch 2, believe it or not. And there is supposed to be some Phantom Switch 2 update at some point, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that since like launch, so who knows where that's
Okay.
at. But good looking game though. Great series, great combat in this game. Story's dumb, but everything else in this game's cool. So dumb.
Yeah.
Especially after coming.
It's
up
actually
with,
good that you said
Chronicles
that because
3.
some people who have played 2 and 3, where the stories really do shine, especially
3 might be one of my favorite video game stories of all time. So like coming from
So
that, I
just
was like,
temper
what
your
is this?
expectations if
Yeah,
you go back to the
please,
first
yeah.
one.
Think more Star Trek than Star Wars. Like we're on this planet and we're gonna figure it out, and you know, like and there's people here and they're bad, and I don't know. It's not that much. It's not that, it's not that deep, guys. Bravely Default, very fun. I know Dan played that as well.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, that was a good time. Trails in the Sky, I absolutely loved. I'm gonna beat that game. I took a little pause on it, but that's just because I'm not gaming a lot right now. But Trails in the Sky, this is still my favorite combat system in modern day RPGs right now. Like, let me choose. Do I want to be an action game? I want to be a turn-based game. Let me choose when I want to do both. You know, how I want to do that. I like how those feed into each other, where one sets up the other. If you want to play the game right, you know. But I don't know. I like this game a lot, and it is considered one of the greatest JRPGs ever made. So I'm still trying.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure that part out. I'm like, what's the story here that everyone's talking about, because this game is very vignette-y, if that, like Dragon Quest. Think Dragon Quest, where it's just like, it's not really about like this big overarching story. It's kind of like, this is happening, and now this kind of arc or thing is happening, and now this kind of
almost
arc
like
or thing is
episodes.
happening. Kind of like episodes, yeah. But I know this game kind of comes together towards the end. I remember playing this game when I was younger, and I just don't remember the story like at all. So it all kind of feels new to me. Great game though. I think this game is so beautiful and so controls really well, and has just a great RPG mechanic. The last one would be that Ride Out Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army. Very cool. It's like an action-y Persona game. Very, very cool game. PS2 era. It's called Devil Summoner back then. Super cool game. I really like this game a lot. And I'm playing this on Switch. This is like a perfect Switch game. It's PS2 era game. So, but they updated a lot of it. It feels better to play. Graphics are great. It's a good game, man. Yeah, it's a good time, and it's just different than Persona. So it's it's all actiony, all action third person. So. I played a lot more. I mean, I played Oblivion. I played a lot of things this year. I played a lot of remasters.
That was
Oblivion's
on my
definitely
kind of
great.
short list because I played some Oblivion,
Yeah.
but not a ton, But I had to play some
I
of
forgot that even came out, to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
oh man,
I'm like
they
50 hours
they
into that game.
remastered.
I'm towards the end of the end of the story. Like I've really liked that remaster, and they finally that game sucked to play, guys. I'm sorry. Like if you went back and played Oblivion like on Steam before this came out. And like diehard people hate me saying this. Look, it was perfect. It feels perfect, and yeah, it's just old, and it's old and it feels bad. It's just a bad feeling game. I don't know what to tell you. It just didn't age well.
I think
this
some
is a
people just
good
like
way.
things to feel weird.
I don't
and
know,
like,
man. People just like what they
and,
like. I get it. Sometimes
archaic
I don't
and
like things to
clunky.
change either, and I don't really get to like logically choose when I feel that way. It just kind of happens. I'm like, oh, why are they changing this? And other times I'm like, oh, I like that they changed this, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. This thing needed some changes, in my opinion. I'm very happy with all the changes. It's very updated. It feels very good to play, and you don't need to run a bunch of mods to run it like you do the original Oblivion. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. Now, Dan, one of the ones we brought up, and I thought maybe was on your list too, would be this guy. And Kyle mentioned it briefly.
Yes.
Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD. You put some time into this, right? This summer.
Yeah, I made a good chunk. I definitely went past the point that I did when I was playing it on the DS, like when it first came out. I just this was kind of also around when I had my my panic, or like a little after my panic attack. So, just kind of I was more weaving in and out of things just to make sure that I was not getting all like whoa. But yeah, this game is just absolutely beautiful. Just I love the sort of picture book style of it,
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful, and it's basically it's just Final Fantasy. Like it's literally about crystals, like Warriors of Light. Like it's like old school Final Fantasy.
When people are like crying about like the Square doesn't make turn-based like Final Fantasy games anymore. They are. You're just not playing them, and they're just not called Final Fantasy anymore. The Square is absolutely making turn-based RPGs about crystals and classes,
job system.
So, yeah. Excuse me, job systems. Yeah.
I think it's just because it's maybe this isn't a thought that I've had. I think when people do that is the iconography of Final Fantasy, like chocobos and airships and like cactars, and I think some fans are just so like, I need those things.
I need a Moogle, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just kind of like that comfort of like the familiarity of like, I love this series.
Yeah,
and I
mean, we like our brands
specific
for
things,
sure. Yeah. Hey, man, I would love to see a turn-based, Final Fantasy game, but I did play one this year. It's called Bravely Default, so I think there are big bird things in this game too. So
big bird.
Yeah. Well, listen, there's a ton of games that came out this year as remakes that people loved. I'll just mention a few without trying to show B-roll of all of it. It would take too long, but we had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 came out this year. We had a remaster of Heretic plus Hexen. Heretic and Hexen came out this year. If you like those first-person fantasy games, those were kind of N64, PS1 style first-person games. We had Ninja Gaiden 2 Black was released this year. Kind of
Oh
a
yeah,
surprise drop when they announced it.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
boom, there it was. And then here comes
dropped
Ninja
that day.
Gaiden 4 a few months later, and Ninja Gaiden
I actually
Rage
bought that
Mountain. It was a
physical.
Ninja Gaiden year. It was a Ninja Gaiden year for sure.
It's true. There was 3 Ninja Gaiden games in 1 year.
We had a really remarkable moment just in terms of the console wars, where Gears of War Reloaded launched on all platforms,
Oh,
including
yeah.
PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
It sure
so
did.
We had a remaster of Gears of War hit again. It's the second remaster, I think. Does that sound right? Of Gears of War? Because they've done one before,
I
like a
think so,
definitive
yeah.
edition.
I think so.
before.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Not a lot
But
of
this is like
noise
a
around
new
it,
gen
but
one.
sold like hotcakes. So I mean, it sold so
Yeah.
well. But yeah, it just you would almost
Yeah.
forget that even happened because I don't hear a lot of people talking
think-
about it.
I think a lot of gamers are multi-console gamers anyway in this day and age. But for those who are still on PlayStation only and hadn't gotten to play this one, it was a really cool.
It sold really.
introduction
Every
to
Xbox game
them.
that's come to PlayStation has sold like above expectations.
you're right.
So
Yeah, like Sea of
you know,
Thieves and this. Yeah.
Indiana Jones,
Indiana Jones.
Forza Horizon.
And we have Avowed on the way in a couple months, coming to PS5. I think it's next month. maybe.
And then
I'm
next
not
week
seeing
when
it.
they do the Microsoft Direct, I think the rumors are Fable's releasing day and date on PlayStation, and that
Ooh.
Motorsport might
I think
be
we'll make it
there
more
day
Halo
one
over
or a
there
couple
too,
months
right?
later. Yeah, Halo's coming
Are
over.
we getting
Yeah,
more
that's
Halo?
already announced. Yeah.
I know the
Uh,
first one is, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of the Halo games come over to PS5 in addition to that.
Yeah,
Isn't
I
it just the
think so.
first one for right now? The combat.
The first one
Reimagined,
for right
whatever
now.
they're calling
Yeah.
it.
And I think they said every one
South of
coming
Midnight.
like forward is all going to be coming.
Oh, there you
Is that coming? South of Midnight? Is that coming over?
Yeah,
think
I
it's coming.
actually forgot because I looked it up the other day. I was like, wait a minute, did they? Because remember,
think
they
so.
got the award during the Game Awards, and as they got the award, they're like, by the way, we're going to
She
release this on
announced it.
PS5.
You're right. She did
Okay,
announce that
yeah.
during that.
That's cool.
That's right.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
'Cause
Don't
I
be
gotta play
proud
that
to don't be too proud to play an Xbox game on a PlayStation. These are gifts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
They
these
are.
are great games. You know, so
This
I'm
is
definitely
this is a
buying a Valve
gift.
next
on your
month.
console.
This is a gift.
We also had Plants vs Zombies Replanted came out, which for those of you who
Yes,
liked the
yes.
original one, it was a cool way to re-experience that. The second one, of course, was a very predatory take on the Plants
Sure
vs
was.
Zombies formula, and
Sure was.
this. Sorry, I got kids yelling
EA.
right outside my office. Jeez Louise. Hang on one second.
The Nestor army is assembling. Tim just takes out a gun. He's like, just
Whoa.
It's like, whoa, that escalated quickly.
Wow.
Wild West, just like, 6 shooters,
All right, we're back.
something like that.
Goodness gracious. I got 2 little kids who are fighting over who needs to clean up because they were outside in the garage and driveway playing. It's nice today, and
Sure.
they can't do their screen time until they're cleaned up, and they're screaming at each other who's supposed to clean up. And I'm like, if you both
See,
just do it.
this
could
is
be
why,
done.
you know,
Yeah.
when kids don't understand, it's like just work together and then you get it done faster, right? Just work smarter, not harder.
I agree.
But you know, kids are crazy.
Yeah.
We were
They
never
brought
crazy,
Mama
though. We
down.
were-
She was upstairs doing something peaceful, and she's down here now. She's dealing with it. So
Uh-oh.
Oh,
that's their own
gosh.
fault. They brought
You
that
tried to
upon
warn 'em.
themselves.
Yeah.
I did. I actually literally said, like, Mom's gonna come down, not be very happy with you. So the whole neighborhood can hear you screaming at each other. And she came over and I was like, uh-oh. I think music actually kicked in, kind of like a wrestler, like an entrance
Oh,
music
yeah.
kicked in. And
Sure.
She came down the steps.
Absolutely.
All right. Also
trying to
out
think
this
what-
year. It was earlier this year, so it's easy to forget when they come out at the beginning of the year. But early 2025, we saw Donkey Kong Country Returns HD come out.
Oh yes.
Um,
Yes.
Yep. And then we had Pac-Man World 2 Repack came out this year. We had a definitive edition of Dawn of War 40K, the original Warhammer 40K Dawn of War game.
Oh, that's right. I
like
forgot about
RTS.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they announced a 4th entry in that series is coming. So yeah, they did that remaster there. And then let's not forget, even though it wasn't the most critically acclaimed remaster, it's still exciting for fans. Onimusha 2, Samurai's Destiny, got a
Oh, I thought you were
Yes.
gonna say
Remaster.
Busby. I thought you were gonna say Busby. I was like,
Oh my
dang,
gosh.
he's really setting up Busby here.
I'm not going that deep. Forget about that.
I played and beat that actually a few weeks ago. I think
did
in December. I think it was. I finally like dove into
Onimusha
it.
2 is criminally underrated. It's a criminally underrated video game.
Yeah,
And its
it
only
is
sin when it
overlooked
came
a lot.
out, its only sin when it came out was that it didn't star Samanosuke from like the first game. That was like the only criticism I ever saw.
But I do think it's a lot of people's favorites of the series.
I think
I do think it
over
is.
time it's become that, but when it came out,
Mm.
it was like the Devil May Cry 2 of like people were like, "This is
Oh
not
God, no, God, no.
Yeah.
Anyone that ever thought that is literally stupid. Like your brain
Yeah.
doesn't work. Because
I think yeah. Over
that's
time, like
yeah.
who was it? Jubei, is that the character in the second
Jubei,
one? I think
yeah.
he became, like people
Jubei, yeah.
started really liking him. But yeah, I mean that's why they came back to Samanosuke in 3. People were like, "Whoa, we gotta give people what they want here."
Well, you
Let's
know,
bring
you
that
gotta
French guy along
close out
too.
the story, the arc.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
Jean Reno. Jean Reno.
So those, I think, were the main remasters, remakes this year. There were other collections that we saw with like Mortal Kombat and the Lunar series. So there were some really cool
Lunar, yeah.
collections, and Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. So there's a whole bunch of others. It's not like this was a year where we were short on re-releases in some way, shape, or form. But those, I think, that we've highlighted so far are the main ones that those of us on the podcast have spent any time with or had any interest in. Unless I'm forgetting anything that you guys have also played. Did I forget anything?
Not that I'm aware of now.
It's impossible to tell.
So, but hey, a really good year to go
Yeah.
revisit games, even if they weren't re-released officially on a platform, as you just heard us talk about with Most Addicting, or that can kind of bleed into that best comfort food game that you keep circling back to. So call it addicting or not, doesn't matter. Sometimes it doesn't take a re-release to have me just reinstall and dive back into a game just because I'm like, man, I got the itch to get back into that gameplay loop or that world or those characters or whatever. So yeah, a good year to revisit a lot of that stuff. And in some cases, you got a modern version of that, which was really exciting, really cool to see this year. We have more of those coming in 2026, that's for sure. So, and by the way, I've noticed that this month, pretty short on like major brand new launches this month. There's not that many, but there are already a bunch of like Nintendo Switch 2 versions of things are going to hit this month. Like, so this month of January, there are a good number of like re-releases, ports, in some cases, maybe not a full remaster, but it seems like an upgrade for Nintendo Switch 2 versions. So keep your eyes on the release list this month. There are certainly some notable ones if you've been waiting on something. There's some stuff arriving. But anyway, all right, guys, let's wrap up this episode. Before we wrap it up, we're going to do best story. We're going to wrap it up with music. So I think, Dan, you sent me an additional music track. So we'll listen to a few tracks before we wrap up. But for our final category is what I'm trying to say. Our final category for this week is best story. You know, in years past, we've talked about, you know, best characters, best writing, best setting, all those kind of things. But overall, this narrative idea, best narrative, best story, the way that we're doing it here, you can make an argument that because of the characters, this is one of my favorite stories. And I think that's legitimate. It doesn't have to necessarily have the best plot line, but if it had the best characters, maybe the plot line was elevated by those characters. Or maybe the characters were just okay, but the plot was just so good, it made them each. So all these things work together sometimes. And with really, really good writing can make a generic plot feel much more intriguing because the writing is just so good. So, and in some cases, it knocks out of the park in all those categories. A non-generic, totally original storyline with amazing characters and great writing. So, of course, that elevates things super high. But so, yeah, you can make a case however you want to for what best story is. And if you guys have that document, I'll bring it up too so we can all look at it together. But you always have access to that document if you want to see it. Or you can just pull up a list of games if you want on your computer if you want to just see games. What we'll do is we will nominate games that we want considered for best story of the year. Not band. Remember the band? Remember that early 2000s story of the year band?
Oh, yeah.
Story of the year. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I remember that band.
Yeah.
They had songs in some racing games. That's how I learned about them.
Absolutely, they were. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna pick the ones that we want considered. I've already brought over a bunch of what I would call recommended nominees from the general list just to save us a little bit of space and time. But if I forgot something or didn't bring something over, in some cases, I don't think any of us played it, but I still wanted it brought over as like, hey, this is a story-centric game, just to show that we're trying to consider everything. But if there's something I'm missing, feel free to throw it out there. Like last week, Kyle, you reminded me about the Inazuma 11 game. Inazuma, remember that one?
That's right.
And we brought that over for gameplay. I included it this time just in case, even though maybe you're thinking this is not one of the best stories of the year. That's fine. I'm including it just so I don't get accused of other things. So
Anti-Japanese bias.
I came ready.
You know what I'm saying?
So
okay, all right, good. All right, guys. So here's the spreadsheet we're working from. You see the recommended nominees over here in the list. Kind of, I think I brought over 50ish, just under 50 maybe. Yeah, something like that. But if you want to see a more complete list, I can scroll all the way over, and there's a more complete list here. If you want to look through some of the games, or you could just Google it yourself if you want to bring up your own list. But why don't we just take turns picking ones that we want to have considered for best story of the year? Kyle, let's start with you this time. I feel like we usually start with either end of the alphabet or beginning of the alphabet. This time we're starting in the middle. So why don't we have you kick us off? What's one that you want brought over for consideration?
Let's just get the big one out of the way, the Claire Obscure. Just bring that one over, because everyone...
Claire Obscure, okay.
Probably agrees.
All right, Dan, what do you want to have brought over?
Well, apparently Kyle hates Kojima, because Death Stranding 2 should obviously be moved.
Okay, come on. Yeah, all right.
That's what that means. It's too late. That's what it means.
Insane. What an insane thing to say.
That's insane.
I'm bringing over Dispatch. Kyle, what do you want to brought over next?
You can bring over Yote.
Ghost of Yote. All right, Dan.
Octopath Traveler 0.
Octopath Traveler 0. All right, I will bring over Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Of course.
Kyle.
Mafia.
The Old Country.
Mafia.
All right, Daniel.
Mafia. Let's see here. You scroll up, please.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Nothing else is actually coming to mind immediately, story-wise. That like would be worth having. Trying to think.
No Silent Hill F? You don't like the story of that?
I don't dislike it. I just don't. I mean, I guess if it did end up on the list, it would probably be towards the bottom. So yeah,
I'm going to bring it over on your behalf since you played it and we didn't, and I've heard that the story is great. So
I've heard the story's good too.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to bring over South of Midnight. Kyle.
Let's scroll down. I had one in mind and I forgot. Outer
Okay.
Worlds 2.
Outer Worlds 2. Nice. Good call. All right, Dan, are there any others that you want to bring over? And it's okay if you're like, I think that's it. And I've got a few more.
Does Split Fiction have a good story? I know you guys love Split Fiction. Is that something that would be worthy of?
I don't know if the story. I don't know. Like story? I don't know.
This is one where I think you could argue that the plot line, if you were to see it in bullet points, is like, it's fine. But the characters and the writing and the way that the gameplay fits into the story does make it compelling. You want to see what happens.
I do agree with that. Yeah.
It's probably not top 10 material, but I like giving it at least an honorable mention list.
Okay. Yeah.
There. If I played more of First Berserker Kazan, I bet you I'd love the story. The setting is really cool, and how they establish who you are and why. You guys played the demo at least a little bit. I think Dan at least played it.
Yeah.
You guys saw some.
Yeah, I played it all the way through.
And so he played the demo all the way through, I think is what he's saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I played the demo all the way through.
Beat the game. Wow. Someone beat this
so
game.
It's a pretty compelling,
really was interested in this game.
Yeah, that was the surprise. Dan played and beat First Berserker Kazan without telling us all year.
You didn't say anything to anybody.
That was my Expedition 33. Tim sneaking that up on us.
That's right. I wish I'd played enough of the Altars to tell that story. I think it's a cool story around futuristic sci-fi, creepy, cloning, all kinds of crazy stuff's happening. I don't know about the overall narrative, if it's worth pulling over, so I can't. Tales of Iron 2 is more like a really dark fairy tale, but it's not an amazing story. To me, it's more about the gameplay. But yeah, it's pretty solid. But I'll leave it over here. I didn't play Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I know a lot of people love that game. Maybe it's got a good story. I don't know. I didn't play it. Shinobi Art of Vengeance and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound have really fun kind of Saturday morning cartoon, mid-90s arcade gaming stories, but not worth, in my opinion, bringing over. But they're cool. They're really cool narratives to go along with.
They're more about playing in the
slashing.
game, right? So
Exactly. What about Pokemon or Rune Factory, Kyle? Either one of those have a narrative that got to you?
No to both of those in the same laughable sense. ZA's incomprehensible, that story, and Rune Factory is like what god am I gonna bang today? Like, it's not really a story, you know. Like, it's
I mean,
what
I'm
god am I
on
gonna
board
hit on
now.
constantly?
Now I'm back
Yeah,
in. Yeah.
Let me go ahead and buy that real quick. No,
fan service at best for Rune Factory. So
sure,
not really
sure.
great in the writing departments for either of those.
Yeah, I think Metroid Prime 4 probably tells a more compelling story than you'd expect from a Metroid game, because usually you got a silent protagonist and you're just trying to get your powers
Mm-hmm.
back while stopping some alien threat. It's similar. They tried a little bit more this time with adding additional characters who actually, in my opinion, do add to the narrative element, because they have personalities and you feel bad if bad things happen to them, and that it's still not a great overall narrative, though. I wouldn't put it in best narrative, but it's still fun. Like I thought the story was enough for me to want to keep playing the Metroid game. It didn't like hurt it at all, but it also wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a big standout. I bet you in a few months, if you ask me what's the story, I'd be like, oof, I don't remember getting your powers back. That was fun. You know what I mean? Like, so it wasn't super memorable.
Well, and let me justify not bringing Yakuza over this year, because I always like, well, Yakuza's all about story. This game is too nuts to be taken seriously. So it's like,
That's fair.
I'm like the greatest Yakuza ever, and I got amnesia, and oh, I'm gonna pretend to be a pirate. It's like not a story. You know what I mean? There are some like moments of you're like, oh, this is kind of like heartbreaking or whatever,
It's
but like
silliness, basically, right?
it's silly. So yeah, don't bring that over.
Well, Kyle, let
I
me
don't.
tell
I
you
want to
something that
make it.
I've.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, Inazuma 11 wise, I would bring that over usually,
Yeah.
because I think it is the best representation of like watching or playing an anime, but it feels like you're watching one too. It's cut up like episodes. It's got dialogue delivery
Yeah.
like anime. Like everything about it is it's the closest I've ever seen a video game be to like telling a full blown anime story, like a season of an anime story.
Yeah.
So if you like sports anime, if like that's what you watch like those types of anime. This is like a video game version of that for sure.
Dude, you've got me so sold on this game, Kyle. I
It's
am
insane how
absolutely
good
going to
this
get
game
it when
is.
it's not full price. But I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
want
yeah.
to play this game a lot. I really do.
It's gonna go on sale.
For
I was
sure.
going to ask you, I've seen some, because I've been watching a lot of like, whether it's content creators or reviewers or just kind of smaller outlets, smaller YouTube channels, as they either react to big games they're streaming, and just kind of seeing as they get to big moments in games that I love from this past year or before. But also like some of the surprise things. I've seen people play Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment and get really captured by that narrative, like for real. Like,
Yeah,
but is that like a good
yeah.
story? It sounds like people love the story in
I
that
mean,
game.
it's the same story that you get in the game, in terms of like the flashback sequences. It's just more fleshed out. And I thought that in the game, Tears of the Kingdom, that was the most interesting narrative of that
Might
the
have
game
been the
was trying
best
to tell.
Zelda
Was like,
story. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. Well, and specifically that part, all the stuff that was going on in the past, where
You're right.
Zelda was kind of manipulating it, and then the way that she gets to the future and what form she has to take to
Yep.
get there.
And these
Like
other
all that stuff
tribes
is
all
like,
working together. Yeah.
oh, it's so captivating. And like this is just that story, but totally fleshed out. I mean, there are times, I think I was telling Dan this when it was one of our duo episodes. I was like, sometimes I'll put my controller down and watch a cutscene for so long that the Switch will like auto darken its screen on my TV, because it's like you haven't touched your controller in like 15 minutes. I'm like, that's not my fault. Like it's
All
not
right, I'm
like
at
I'm
least
watching
putting
a
in an
Metal Gear
honorable
Solid.
mention then.
Yeah, I'm watching a
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid sequence, in a Zelda game,
Yep.
which like again, like even Zelda game propers don't have cutscenes
Yep.
this long with this much dialogue. So it was just interesting to get to see a Hyrule story take its time and tell its
Yeah.
story, rather than just like.
Well, I'm. It's definitely in honorable
I
mention
liked it. Yeah,
category for
I'm
me.
shocked.
Same with Hell Is Us, because of the things that Dan said about it
Oh
earlier
sure.
this year, and I totally agree with those sentiments. That it's a very unique setting of kind of this Eastern European conflict, even though it's not real life countries. It's very reminiscent of what we've seen throughout the last several decades of conflict across those countries, which in some cases, some of those countries that existed in the 80s and 90s don't exist as a nation anymore. Now they're something else, or they combined to make a country, or they split two countries. And so this did a really cool job of combining that with this like really creepy, almost Silent Hill-esque like horror storyline of stuff that's happening, and a little bit of a like dystopian setting. But then they also reference how the outside world isn't going through this. It's just them. It's just their countries that are falling apart like this. So anyway, it's very interesting. I did not finish it to be able to argue for it to be top 10, but it's definitely, in my opinion, honorable mention worthy, just because it's unique and the characters are good. The voice acting's good. Yeah, no issues with any of that. Although the main character's hairstyle is questionable, so I do appreciate the hat.
Yeah.
That hair in of itself
Infamous
is a
hair.
story, really.
Yeah.
Like, what's
I
the
don't know. I
deal
felt
with
like
his hair?
poofy poofy curly hair just doesn't fit with a really dark Eastern European
I
story.
feel like
Why
like
does
a
his hair
dev
look
maybe
like?
put that hair like on his head like as a goof, and then no one ever changed it, and they're like, oh
Yeah,
no, we
Sure.
shipped
this
it
got to
like
be
that, didn't
something.
we?
Like, is he
Yeah,
Will Ferrell
yeah.
from Old School when he takes his hat
Yeah.
off? Like, what's with the hair?
It really is Will Ferrell-esque. Yeah, it
Yeah,
just doesn't make sense. It looks
yeah.
odd, but it's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
bringing over Eric's Home as at
Yeah, I was
least a
gonna ask
shout
about
out to
that one.
that really great, compelling story there. I think that's everything. I didn't play enough of
I want to call
Avowed.
out Dune Awakening. I think the writing in that game is pretty good, and I think it like
Yep.
holds a lot of candle to the lore and stuff like that. But it's more of like the story is more of a journey, like where it's more like you're going to like a place, and then you're kind of getting like the background and lore of that place. That's not really heavy on actual like narrative storytelling stuff like that, even though there is kind of a through line story. But just wanted to at least call it out because
Okay.
I was like, oh, the homage that they paid to the actual writings and lore of this series is great, and
Yep.
the writing that was there was good. So
Well, and listen, the writing and the performances of Hades 2 are also excellent. My son actually has been playing it a lot, and he really likes it. He said he overall still likes the first one a little better in terms of story, but he really likes the second one too.
cool. Yeah.
So just secondhand experience. I haven't played it enough myself to tell you if the story is good, but what I've played, of course, the production quality is top notch. One that I'll bring over real quick, even though I don't know if it's top 10, but I loved Assassin's Creed Shadows. I thought both lead
Yeah.
characters were great. Like, I'm so glad that once the game actually released, I felt like, and maybe it was just my experience, I felt like the volume around the quote unquote controversy with the characters and all that just kind of went away. And that was just maybe that's just my experience. It just got real quiet, at least, if it didn't totally go
I
away.
thought
I
it
felt like,
got
generally
quieter
speaking, once people
after
played the
launch.
game, it was like, all right, it's fine. Like, I ended up really enjoying both of the leads. I liked the overall storyline. I liked the way things wrapped up at the end. Is it the best story of the year? No, it might not even be top 10, but to me, it was a very good Assassin's Creed story with some cool kind of Shogun era Japan stuff going on. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. Okay, so let's organize these. I think we've got a pretty solid list to work from. There we go. So here's the ones that we are going to have considered as we bring things over into our top 10. And so the ones that we said, I think, pretty clearly right out of the gate, we had Claire Obscure, Death Stranding 2, and Dispatch, I think, are pretty obviously in the 10. I think right. Ghost of Yotei was pretty easily in the 10.
I think
Tell me if
Kingdom
you
Come
think
Deliverance.
I'm wrong. Kingdom Come Deliverance is pretty easily in there. I think Octopath.
I'm gonna probably fight hard for Mafia. I don't know where you're at, Tim, but it would you'd be the other person to fight for it. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's in the top 10, but these are ones that we want to
say Octopath I'm ready to die on the hill with Dan for as well. So
okay.
My allegiances are everywhere. All right.
I would make the argument, and it's mainly because of the way that Obsidian built Outer Worlds 2 and the way that they can shape the story. I'm not saying that the overarching story from start to finish is the best story. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's not either. But the way it shapes and the way characters and you make decisions, I still think it's a great narrative experience. I do too,
and I really think that when you get to the paradigm shift in that game after like quote unquote the revenge story kind of ends, I think that game becomes way bigger in scope than you ever like thought it was going to be. So
I think it's a step up from the first one.
I do
in terms of narrative too.
Yeah. I do too. I think the moment-to-moment writing is better as well. I do say that the character, like this band of characters, I don't like as much as the characters in the first game. I think the characters in the first game are some of the best characters like in the medium. I think they're so great, but and not that the characters are bad here. I didn't connect with them as quickly. So
I agree with that. So I've got, for me personally, I would have like South of Midnight. And what's my other one? I think I'd have Assassin's Creed considered as well. Where to go? Oh, there we go. No, I don't have Assassin's Creed super high, but I've got it. It's near my top 10. I would have South of Midnight as one to at least consider, but it could be booted if there's other ones.
Assassin's I would take Creed, South of Midnight over anything else on that list.
Hell Is Us, Hyrule Warriors, Silent Hill F, Split Fiction. If we've got to put another one in there, I did finish Split Fiction caring about the characters a lot and caring about what happened at the end. If that means it has a good story, then I think that's fair to put it in there. I don't know. I liked it a lot. What do you think?
So I know I've seen.
about Silent Hill, if you want to go to that
Yeah,
for it.
I was gonna say because I know I kind of seemed like dismissive of it but like it was just more that I'm the only one that has played and
But
beat it. So
we always back
it,
darlings, whatever. Everyone should have a darling over.
I think it's worth at least just determining which one of these gets the boot out of here, because I think this is 11 now. Yeah, and I think
okay.
Assassin's Creed, Eric's Home, Hell is Us, Hyrule Warriors. Unless Dan or Eric, sorry, Eric's Home is throwing me off. Kyle, Hyrule Warriors. I mean, I kind of pushed for you to move it over here, but is that as far
I
as you
think
would
it's
want to
great. I
take
don't
it?
think it's going to beat out any of these over on the round 2 side.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
I think it's definitely worth at least bringing over that one time though.
Okay. So then I think we've got to boot one of these back over to our honorable mention list. Maybe it is Split Fiction. I just don't. All I know from Silent Hill F is it's all just secondhand knowledge of what I've heard others talk about, how they think it's
Yeah,
a
right.
great story, maybe one of the better Silent Hill stories. That's all I've heard. I don't really know anything specific about it. If you want to make a case for it, Dan, to be on here, I'm all ears, and I'm willing to. I'm willing to have it in the top 10 and make Split Fiction honorable mention. But I did just want to acknowledge that for me personally, I would squeeze Split Fiction onto the list if I were doing this one. But it's also not like my favorite of the year. It's like right around 5 or 6 though. It's not like low.
So Silent. I mean, obvious. I'm more of a Resident Evil person, so I could compare like once Requiem, for example, comes out, I'll be like, oh, how does this compare to the entire series? It's more difficult for me to do that with Silent Hill because I've only experienced fully 2. I remember I had Silent Hill 3. I owned it, but I only like maybe played an hour of it. So yeah, I've heard 3 is also it's great. But I will say, having just played the remake of 2 recently, comparing F specifically to it, it does feel like it's funny because obviously we've all been so angry at Konami for a long time for reasons that if you know the game industry,
I'm not
but
like
I'm not
I'm pretty mad.
But like this was a strong effort. Like they could have really just dialed it in and just been like, yeah, like we're gonna just make another one because we own this property and like people love it, so let's just make a whatever mediocre video game. And it's like they didn't. It's actually a really great, maybe even excellent video game. And I would say of what I know enough of the series, I would think it would be top 3 Silent Hills.
I think a lot of people would echo that.
Yeah.
Well,
I think the main character,
taking out the comparison to other Silent Hill games on its own, you feel like it's got a strong story to it, Dan? Because you finished this.
Oh,
game,
yeah.
right? Didn't you finish F?
Yeah. I like finished it really quick. It was actually the week.
Let me guess. The story's about trauma, right? Is that what it's about? Yeah.
Yes, actually,
that's what they're all about.
Yeah, that's all. Well, I mean, that's what Silent Hill is, right? Silent Hill is just like this.
Yeah, it's an exploration.
Freaking entity.
How we deal or
I'm putting Split Fiction in honorable mention list. I will say that if you play it with a friend or family member and you kind of laugh and sometimes yell at each other all the way through as you're trying to figure it makes for a really great gaming experience, and it's got just enough narrative to help pull you along. Similar to like Assassin's Creed Shadows, where it really shines when you're exploring and stealthing around. It's not necessarily that the story was so compelling. I've never seen anything like it. Ghost of Yotei has a better narrative, start to finish, than Shadows does, I think, just as a standalone story. That doesn't mean that you can't enjoy Assassin's Creed Shadows or that you might not even like it more than Ghost of Yotei. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that as a story.
I would say, I could see people making a case for Assassin's Creed Shadow having a better story, to be honest, just because there's it's more grander, like the scale of the story.
It's a grander story. Yeah. And it's telling 2 different people that you care about a lot, their stories. And I think it actually intertwines them in a pretty good way. I like the way that their stories kind of converge, and they did a really good job with that. Same with Eric's Home. It's a really well told story around this idea of stealthing through. So it's not going to like shock you as wow. That just blew my mind, but it does compel you from scene to scene and from area to area. It does a good job of that. We already talked about Hell is Us. I think it's really creative. And then Hyrule Warriors, as Kyle was talking, the Zelda team has, I think, upped their game in terms of narrative and giving you characters you care about outside of just Link breaking pots. And
I'm telling you, I would love for the main series to have cutscenes like this game does. I would. I know that some people would be like, oh, no, but like I would like that. I think
Yeah,
it'd be
Tears of the
cool.
Kingdom started to dip that direction a little bit. I
Yeah.
hope they continue what they've done with Age
Yeah.
of Imprisonment here.
I do
But
too.
but
I
yeah,
like a
they've
good
really built
cutscene.
out Zelda to be a really compelling, amazing character, not just a princess who sometimes is powerful in some games and sometimes is not.
She
So like,
murders many
yeah,
god. I
she's
mean,
great.
like you're killing thousands of people on the battlefield. I mean, she's a mass murderer.
She's
So
Sure.
fantastic. But they've also
She's
given
a
her good
mess.
voice actress. They've given her like some depth to her
yeah,
character that's not just
yeah.
a counterbalance to what Link's trying to accomplish. So I think they've done a great job. And then we already talked about Split Fiction as well. So great honorable mentions. And so here's the 10 that we're going to work together to rank. Let me see if I can move this over. There we go. Oh, you know what? You want to do 5? I have it as 5 from last year. Do you guys want to just do 5? Or do you want to do 10? Let's do 10.
We already have 10 here. I think it'll be all right to
Let's
do
do
10. I
10.
think we'll cruise
Let's
through
do
it.
10.
Let's do 10.
I
Let's
think there's
not
some
make anyone
obvious
feel
front
bad.
runners, and then there's some, I think there's a pretty good split here. So
I think the first 5 we moved over are probably our front runners for the top 5.
I'll probably agree with that.
I mean, possibly Mafia, or you guys both played Octopath. I could see you guys helping to push. Or Dan, did you play Mafia yet?
No, I did not.
Okay, all right. I did, and I loved it. So, but I could see maybe a Mafia or Octopath making a push towards the top. I feel like these are probably Outer Worlds, South of Midnight, Silent Hill F are probably towards the bottom, just in our combined list. But we'll see. So I think these are top 5, and I think these are bottom 5. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a start. I think we can make some cases to move things up or down if we need to.
It is a start. I agree. Let me zoom in a little more. I gotta just zoom in the normal way. I messed it up. Hang on. All right. So any cases you guys want to make right out of the gate for? Let's start with the bottom 5 here. Any cases you want to make for the order of these, or maybe bumping one up into the top group?
Well, I think just by the way we were talking that like maybe like Outer Worlds 2 and maybe South of Midnight might be on the lower end, right?
Okay. Yep.
It kind of seems like just for the amount of people who have played them, and I think you only played South of Midnight, Tim. I think you only played Silent Hill, Dan. And I think me and you both played Outer Worlds 2, but maybe we don't feel as high on that as maybe some of these other games.
I played so much of that game, and I still haven't finished it, but I'm very far into
yeah,
it.
same.
And
Yeah,
I have no good
like 40,
reason not
40
to finish
hours
it.
or something, 30 hours.
Yeah, I think I'm in the 30, just under 30 range. Like I've spent a lot of time.
Keep going, man.
I know. I gotta just buckle down and play it. And it's not like it's a chore. It is a fun game to play.
It's not a chore at all. Yeah, it's such an easy game to pick up and play.
It's super fun. But so yeah, but I agree. I think I would give Outer Worlds 2 maybe the slight advantage over South of Midnight and Silent Hill, just because 2 of us have played it and really enjoy it. But
okay, yeah, and I'd like to hear Dan talk about where Octopath should be, even if it needs to be bumped up, because I know I'm assuming he feels pretty strongly about it, and I feel pretty strongly about the next as well.
Where would you guys like to see that one?
Yeah, why don't you take it off here?
It's actually all I've been playing the last basically since I had last recorded, which was the first Goaty episode. And echoing what we've mentioned a couple times, the whole it being essentially a mobile game that converted into an actual fully flat. I don't see the seams as well. I think that's what you had said last episode, Kyle. I don't know where those seams are, because I don't see them either. The story is incredibly intriguing. The Octopath part is just more of you're recruiting characters, and there's more gameplay options as far as recruiting, almost like Suikoden, finding characters and recruiting them and so on and so forth. But the story is more centered around there's a lot of threes going on, because in the beginning there's these 3 big bads that are intertwined with your custom created character, and just the awfulness that they inflict on your village. And then when that's resolved, it's and now we're starting this whole other chapter of the story is now feeding into this, because the overarching, I guess, is about these rings, and that's what's kind of framing everything together. So once you deal with those 3, then then the rings turn into the story about actual it zooms out, and it's about kingdoms, and there's an evil king and then there's these 2 other kingdoms, and warring with one another, things we've definitely seen before. But what I love about this series is just like it's just so well written. Like characters will be humorous just in moments that they need to be humorous because, well, shit's really dire and sad and like awful. So it's like, let's like have a moment of levity because you need it because this world is dark. But like the moments that like when the bad stuff is happening is just like it's just so well done and just so well
Mm-hmm.
written. And like you really are like rooting for like your characters for them to like rebuild the village and like just like and the voice acting does a really good job of like as you're
Voice acting's great.
building the village back up and like they're like, oh man, this is feeling a bit more like Wishville used to be, before everybody was murdered and like just fire and
Gruesomely in
everything.
the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. And sorry, hold on one second. Blah, I'm dying. My asshole is exploding again. Sorry, guys.
We could hear it.
We're starting a GoFundMe for Dan's butthole, and
Yeah.
Thank you for that. But yeah, just I don't know. It's really well done. You really resonate with the characters because like with the village and it kind of being rebuilt, but then the overarching story of like evil kings doing evil things and just
It's a great rhyme.
I'm like
evil kings doing evil things.
Evil kings doing evil things. It's also a long game because my PlayStation is saying I'm like 41% the way through, and I'm like I've been playing this for a while.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So a lot.
Yeah, this is a video from
game.
a GameSpot review, and they said 50 hours before this review. I'm not even sure if they finished it, but yeah. So it's a lengthy game. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's just I think at the moment I feel like I still like 2 more for sure, just because the main cast of characters were so excellent. But like again, because this is coming from something that was a mobile game, which you could just say like they could have just threw out whatever. Like it's a mobile game. Like there's not going to be great writing in this mobile video game. But like the main characters of your village that are tied to your custom created character, like the relationships with them and their motivations and like again rebuilding the village and like what that means to Fen, which is like this archer dude, and then I can't remember her name, the one that she's the carpenter. Shoot, I forget her name. The other like main character, your other friend, just her coming back and like rebuilding everything, taking over for her father because obviously he's not there anymore. Spoiler alert. But I don't know. It's just that I'm just so surprised of how the characters. Yeah, it's just how the characters are written, and just I don't know. It's just again, I'm surprised because again, it was a mobile game, and I don't see those seams.
Feels like a full budget game.
Yeah, well, it just doesn't feel like anything.
To Mafia here in a second. I just want, even though I think it's going to stay at around the 8 or 9 range, I did want to just talk real briefly about South of Midnight and the stories that it tells. It digs into this lore of the Deep South in a way that I don't know that many games have done. Very few mainstream movies, honestly, have really done this either. And it introduces a whole new world of lore and culture, and it's just really cool. So I like that part of it because I felt like I was, I don't know, a book was opened that I hadn't gotten to read before. So that part was cool. It does tell a really compelling story of family and loss and love and that kind of stuff. It does a good job of that, and belonging and this whole idea of feeling like you're not anything special, but of course the main character turns out to be really important. Obviously, that's how a lot of times these stories work. But it just kind of felt like a fairy tale brought to life with this. And of course, the visuals, which we talked about already in a previous episode, the visuals help tremendously. The characters are very unique and really cool looking. The animation is just stunning. But I think that helps with the storytelling as well. Like that to me was the biggest piece of this. As you see here in this clip, like there's definitely some cool designs on the enemies and stuff like that, but the combat was adequate. Sometimes felt really good as you unlock more and more stuff, but mostly just kind of adequate. The platforming was pretty basic. It's like move this box, jump up here, there's your grapple point, that's it. And if you're really careful, you can look to the side and see a grapple point that gets you to a little secret upgrade or whatever. Like it wasn't a lot going on gameplay wise, even though it was fun. It's the visuals and man, the storytelling was really, really excellent. So I do encourage folks. I mean, it's not a super long game. I'm talking like, even if you take your time and try to get all the secrets, maybe a dozen hours, you could probably finish it in under 10 if you just focus on the story. So not super lengthy, but I think you'll love the music. Wear some headphones. The music's super unique, sometimes even like odd because it's actually describing the enemy that you're fighting and it's telling their story. Like the singer is actually singing the words to what
I
happened to
like
this
that.
character as you
That's
fight
Yeah,
cool.
them. It's like, what? Are you singing about Two-Toed Tom, the big alligator that's trying to kill me right now, and what happened? Like why he's the way he is?
absolutely.
Like,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Um, so even the music plays a role in the storytelling, which is to me another reason why it's worthy of being on the 10. So just wanted to
Mhm.
highlight that one and give it a little bit of love. But I do think it's got a great spot where it is at, I think we have it like at 8 or 9. We have it 9. I think 9's a good spot for it. But it's really really good. So thinking of Octopath Traveler 0, you've got me completely won over. That story sounds really compelling. I love that kind of thing where, and we've talked about it with other stories too. It starts as a revenge tale, but boy, does it really expand, and your character kind of grows beyond just trying to get
Yeah,
revenge. And so I feel like that is a pretty common theme with a lot of the stories that we're talking about. It sounds
Yeah,
like they
this
do a
year was
really
a
good
big
job
year
of
for
that.
revenge tales.
Big year for
yeah.
revenge. But then there was a story that was told in a new Mafia game, and it tells a very, I don't know, not like the most unique Mafia story I've ever heard, but it just does it so freaking well. And
Yeah.
it introduces a cast of characters that I love. And when you lose a character, which does happen in this game, of course, it's a Mafia game, so people aren't going to survive the entire way
Loyalty
through.
shift and realign and like
Loyalties
it's
shift, and
yeah.
if you are bought in, if you're paying attention, if you're not just skipping cutscenes, you might think, "Who cares about the story?" Well, it's your own fault for skipping. But if you're locked
Hmm.
in and paying attention, when a big moment happens, it legitimately has like this heartbreak feeling, even if you see it
Yeah.
coming. There was a couple moments I knew they were coming, and when they happened, I actually said out loud, like, "Dang it!" I was kind of hoping they wouldn't do the thing I thought they
Yeah.
were gonna do, and they did it, and I'm like, "Crap!"
Well, and
Like I just,
it's pure it's cinema, man. Like the music swells, the camera pulls in the right way. Like you get close ups whenever you need them, and you get I just it's telling the story in a very movie like format, and
Mhm.
it's very easy to get immersed in this story, and there's a pacing to it as well where again like what we were talking about, it has that open world, but like not really, like it's kind of just a stage, which is the best. I think Mafia is working at its best whenever it's open world. It's just the stage that your story is taking place in. Two kind of
yep,
did that, one did that, so
yep,
and this story was really good. Like I liked
yeah,
seeing this side of the Mafia, and it felt authentic. I'm not a historian, man. I don't know how
yeah,
real
yeah,
anything is, I don't know. But like it felt
yeah,
authentic,
hmm,
whether it was just the clothes or the cars being driven, and just the
yeah,
even the topography of the land, it kind of just felt like a real place, like a real valley that
yeah.
you were kind of occupying. Just an
Hmm.
immersive game, man. And again,
Well, and the
I thought the story
connections, the
was incredible.
friendships that you make,
Yeah,
even dare I say, the love story, I was convinced of it. And I was like, man, I kind
same.
of
I
you
get it,
start to
dude.
root
I
for these
get why
two
these kids
kids.
love
You know
each
what I
other.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not gonna work. I don't mean that as a spoiler. It's just like if you've ever seen a movie, like
If as
this
soon as it starts in the
you
back of your
don't
mind,
fall
you
in
know,
love with the
like,
boss's daughter. You don't do that. Like
yeah,
it's like
right. As soon
it's
as it
doomed.
happens in the
You don't
story,
do
you
it.
have this gut feeling. You're like, this is gonna end tragically. I just know it.
Yeah,
You just kind of like from
right.
the like, this is not gonna go well. But even then, the journey to get to whatever does happen at the end, which I won't say, uh,
Yeah,
it still is super compelling. And each scene, it adds
yeah,
this layer of tension to it, and you're like, oh man, I hope they don't find out. Like, there's all that kind of stuff happening. But then on top of the love story, there's still this competing with other families and revenge and
yeah.
all this stuff that's still happening. They just do such a good job of it. And I love Luca. He's one of my favorite characters. That guy with the cool
Luca's
like
so
Zorro
good.
mustache.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's the
yeah, he's
best.
probably my favorite.
Yeah,
But the guy who plays this Don, the main guy,
he's great too.
Is it Torrio? Is that his name? Teresi,
Toricio.
Teresi,
Yeah,
Don
Torici.
Teresi. Dude, he's got such like when he enters the scene, you're like, oh crap, because he's just so intimidating. But he does
Yeah,
such a good
yeah.
job in every
But he's
scene that you
also
see.
like there's moments where they show how good he is to the people, in the city that
Yeah,
he's protecting, and and
and
other
how
times
brutal
not
he
so
is
much,
if
and
you
how brutal he is as
like
well. So
inch
yeah,
away from him a little bit, like super brutal
yeah,
too. So
right,
both
right. I
great.
loved it. If this were a movie, I would call it one of the better mafia movies I've ever seen. Like
Yeah.
if it was just verbatim, just the way that it was told, like in a movie, I'd been like, yeah, it's
Hmm.
one of the best mafia movies you can go see. So
And it helps that the visuals are what they are in the cutscenes. You saw some of the faces zoomed in on. I think they do a great job with the animations and the expressions, everything from a smile to a stern look to a subtle little gesture. Like it adds to the storytelling when the characters have good motion capture. And I think for the most part, the motion capture is very good. Even if some of the general animations in game are just kind of okay. The
Yeah,
cutscenes, I think, do a great job visually to help
agreed.
tell the
Yeah.
story. So yeah, man, very cinematic, beautifully done. So to me, that I still like that game right at the top of this bottom section of the list. Um, but I'm now that we've kind of talked about each of these, do you guys have any strong feelings on moving things around here in this section?
I mean, it gets into the
Well, like the
Whether
weeds
it's
through
on.
line
bumping someone
is
up or
Yeah.
Kyle, because Kyle's kind of like, you
I
go
don't like that
Octopath
at
one
all.
way and then Mafia the other with Tim. So it's kind
Because
of
I was about
because
to
I
just
haven't
take
played
myself off
Mafia.
the map because of like how it's so hard. It's like, what do
don't.
we?
Too bad.
What's better storytelling? Is it immersion because something looks better and is more cinematic, or is it writing and vastness, which Octopath would be, maybe better at
Mhm.
both of those things in terms of like what story it's telling. But like obviously, it's not a very cinematic video game. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
it's like, oh, fuck, I don't know, man. How do you
Yeah,
how do you compare those two? That's insane. That's an insane thing to have to do.
I
Um,
know. It's almost
I
like a
guess
tie between these two. I think
yeah. I mean,
between
I would
Mafia
say
and
for
Octopath.
me, I like the cinematic appeal of Mafia. We don't get games like that very often, and it knew that it wanted. We're a video game that just wants to tell a story, and like that's what
Yeah.
we're here for. Gameplay is second, kind of like in their
I
philosophy.
wish this is what Assassin's Creed Mirage had been. It didn't tell a compelling enough story to justify the
Yeah, sure.
mediocre to good gameplay. Assassin's Creed Mirage had a great chance to be what Mafia Old Country is, and that is an amazing story set in, I guess it's like old, what was it, like mid 600s or 1100s Iraq or something. I don't know, very compelling setting.
Mhm.
I forget what
Hmm.
year it was, but anyway, very compelling. Loved it, but
Hmm.
man, the story just kind of fell flat for me. Mafia the Old Country did the opposite. It was like, hey, we're not going to try to do an open world like Mafia 3. We're not going to try to blow you away with new gameplay mechanics. It's going to be pretty basic, but we're just going to knock your socks off with production value on our storytelling. And I think they did
Confident
that.
storytelling, incredibly
Very
confident.
confident storytelling. Yeah. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I like the idea of it getting the slight edge just for the cinematic piece where it really focused in on story. Because Octopath Traveler, if we were to flip the script and talk about what about gameplay, I think Octopath beats it by a country mile. Like it's not just because of the
Yeah,
depth of
yeah,
gameplay, RPG gameplay in Octopath compared to Mafia. I mean, it's close. It's pretty much like a tie, um,
yeah.
where those two are. But I do think Outer Worlds 2, South of Midnight, Silent Hill F, bringing up the tail end of this makes sense to you or to me. What do you guys think? Do you have any thoughts on the order of these five?
I don't have any thoughts on that now.
I mean, I haven't played Outer Worlds or South of Midnight, so I can't really compare the three, like,
Yeah,
the
I
order
get
of
you.
that. So
Yeah, I'm not opposed to moving Silent Hill F, bump it up above South of Midnight or Outer Worlds 2. I just haven't played it. And the only
Yeah.
reason I hesitated to do so is because even though you've played it, Dan, and it sounds like you really liked the story, I know because you were the only one who played it, maybe that's the only reason you were a little hesitant to like champion it. Maybe that's the only reason you were, but I couldn't tell if you were saying, "Hey, the story just it hit on all cylinders and it was one of the best," or I don't know. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell.
No, I think, like, if I were just making this list, like, for me, it would be in the top 5 because, like, it is very well done, and like the fact of like Kyle said, trauma and all that, but like you're playing as a teenager in this really rural village, um, and
I'm
obviously,
ready to bump it up at least one more because it does. It's just such a unique thing. There's
Yeah,
something
I'm mad
about
I
it.
haven't
Not
played
that
it yet,
South
to be
of
yeah,
Midnight is
honest.
bad, but yeah, I think we bump it up.
and
We put
even
it
the
above Outer
environment,
Worlds
because I think I
2.
had I think I had
That's hard
mentioned
because
the
none of us have played
environment,
both.
yeah, even the environmental storytelling of just like the village itself is just really well done. Like it really looks like a lived in place, and as the game is progressing, how it just deteriorates because that's what Silent Hill does. Um
Yeah,
and how things are changing,
the
and just
decay.
what poor Minako has to go through, the main character, because again, she's a teenager, but she's got the alcoholic abusive father, and the
Classic.
mom that just is
Classic.
kind of numb to all of it, and even like will tell her, but like, stop talking to your dad that way. It's like, bitch, he's hitting you. Like, why are you like, I never understand that kind of like that situation of like the mom's being abused, but like then the kid stands up
It's
for like
hard.
you both, and the mom's like, no. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
It's like
But
this
like that's just
trauma bonding.
a sad tale. Yeah, it's a sad tale. So that's in there. And
Yep.
And yeah, and then there's also the fantastical element, because like there's you that's actually what's extra unique about this one versus two, is like there's the village, and like the fog rolls in as it does, and the village starts changing over time with all like the fungusy like stuff, pink stuff. But then there's like this fantastical world that you go to, and it's very, very Japanese, very fantastical, you know. There's like this guy with a fox mask, and dude, there's some awful imagery that happens, because like essentially this dude in the fox mask is like making Minako like do these things that's almost kind of like a ritual. um and there's this one part, oh my god, it's so gross, and it doesn't fully show it, but like you hear the fleshy stuff, and I'll just leave it at that. But like it's super awful, like the things that she
There's
ends
a
up
lot of
doing
squelching, I bet.
yeah, oh, there's so much squelching. But it's just really visceral, like I don't know.
Yep.
It's just real. It's yeah, like especially if you like Japanese cinema and like classic, because it's just a lot of
Yeah, I
like,
heard the director really leaned into that. They're like, our previous Silent Hill games were our takes on what we think Western cinema and its pacing and how it's doled out. This is
yeah,
absolutely Eastern Japanese cinema, like paced and
yeah,
coded.
yeah,
So again, like it's
yeah,
more like watching The Ring than it is like watching, I
yes,
don't know, like a
yes,
slasher
And
movie,
maybe
a
that contributes to
American
the
slasher movie.
confidence in the storytelling, is because they're like, this is our culture, we're going to tell our
Yeah,
stories,
this is our
as
culture.
opposed
This is
well,
to
our,
yeah,
like
yeah,
we're
is
not doing a
us.
riff on something. We're just doing our thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just it is shockingly good, only because, again, because of what Konami is, what's been going on for the last however many years, and
There's
just
some
Feels weird to
squelching
they're
have two
here.
they're
good
kind of
Silent Hill
like,
games in a row. I feel like we're owed a
yeah,
bad
Yeah.
bad one at this point.
yeah, they're very checked in attitude, over the last decade or whatever, or two. And this was not phoned in at all. Like they
Jason,
really like
what are they throwing heavy rain for? What's up,
Jason. I don't,
Jason?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But yeah, they did
Yeah.
an excellent job. Like
Cool.
it's a great video game.
All right, Kyle, after hearing that, how do you feel about this order? Just because you are
I'm
just
fine
like
with that
me, where you're
order.
like interested but haven't played it. But what do you think about Silent Hill
Yeah,
F being
I'm
number
fine
one?
with that order. Yeah,
Okay.
Octopath and Mafia are the hard ones for me, but we'll
Okay.
mentally notate them as a tie because they are just completely different storytelling methods. I just, again, like, how do you?
I could I could foresee a situation where Dan gets the Obsidian itch and plays Outer Worlds 2, and he loves it. And
Yeah,
I could see a situation where Kyle gets the horror game itch and plays Silent Hill F and is like, we were so wrong. That's a top
Sure.
five. What
yeah,
are we doing?
for
Like,
sure.
I could see both of those things as very distinct possibilities sometime this year. And same with me playing like Octopath, for example. I could see that being where it's like,
We
I
messed
got
up,
into that
guys.
one and I love it.
If this was our
Totally
actual
messed up.
job and we had time to play all the games, then we could do that. But
Yeah.
we're
That's
just
right.
regular Joe Schmoes. Just
But it's
regular Joe
not,
Schmoes.
and we're not gonna. So
I,
that's
I
where we
play
are.
enough. Yeah, I can't even imagine a life where I play more video games. Like, I don't even know if I want that.
I
So.
can, Kyle.
I don't want it,
I need
man.
more.
Yeah, I get so tired. I'm like, right now I'm on my month 2 of not playing games and just like watching movies because I'm just like burned out. So
Yeah. Well, guys, I feel like this is kind of unfair, and I feel like it doesn't happen every year. Sometimes games that I love in certain categories, I only get maybe one or two, and towards the top, just because depending on the opinions of everyone. This time, I feel kind of bad because these 5 are in my top 6. Is all I'm saying. The only one that was also
There you
in my
go.
top 5 was Split Fiction. I had right in there. I was looking at my list here on the side, and South of Midnight was very close. It was like 7th. So so I already feel like I'm spoiled in what's being represented here. I don't know
yeah,
if there's
same.
something missing from your guys' list that you're like, man, I wish that was up there.
No, not for me. I mean,
No.
I wish.
I mean,
Again,
honestly, just
I would be championing some of these Dan ones a little harder if I'd gotten a little more time on
Oh,
some of this stuff. I
correction.
think.
Four out of my top 5 is what I meant to say because I haven't played
Yeah.
Death Stranding. So what I meant to say was 4 out of my top 5.
I thought you were gonna surprise us, but
the
like, guess what, guys? I beat Death
No, my bad.
Stranding too.
My bad. Hey, but I have been watching a
I-
lot of spoiler-free reviews on it just so I could at least understand some of the more appreciation for it. And
Yeah.
similar to previous years, whether it was Baldur's Gate 3, believe it or not, or other games, I'm just like, I have full appreciation of what that game is and what it's doing, even if it at this point isn't something that I've spent any time playing. But
Yeah.
Full appreciation for that game. No problem with where
Tim's lying. He actually platinumed Death Stranding too. He has the
Yeah,
platinum.
you saw that, Dan? You saw that
Impressive.
trophy pop up for me on
Super impressive.
PSN?
I won't
Did.
even do
Yeah,
that.
no, definitely not.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing for me, and only because I haven't really fully dived into it, would be Kingdom Come would swap for Octopath, but that's just more of I haven't dove
I
fully into
think
Kingdom Come.
when you get a little further into Kingdom Come, because I know you're in it right now, I think that once that story like picks up, there is a story. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting,
it's
Dan,
very
hearing you
good.
talk about Silent Hill F and your love for that game. Honestly, even Octopath to some degree, but talking about the confidence with which, and Mafia, as we talk about Mafia, when storytellers, when writers have a confidence in what they're talking about and the characters they've created and the world that they've built, it just makes the story almost comes second nature. The narrative just fits because they're just doing it with such confidence, and each turn and twist that happens or each moment that happens feels natural and feels right. To me, that's what Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did with their story, because this is a team of people from Czech Republic telling Czech history and using like real people from history. And some of it's historical fiction, obviously, because some of the characters either don't exist at all or there's versions of them that maybe aren't quite accurate. But for the most part, the idea of who the real king is and who stepped in, the king of Hungary trying to take over, and all this stuff is real history from Eastern Europe there. And they really do a great job of telling that story. And within that, you've got this really close friendship that's established in the first game that I totally missed, but it didn't take much for me to catch up on it. The opening couple hours of the game, you absolutely kind of get the feel for the vibe for the friendship between your main two characters, between Henry and Hans. And there's a, I don't know, there's just a nice personal touch that the actors even seem to be friends as they're interacting with each other in the motion capture moments. Something about it, they just tell a really compelling narrative. But what I'll say about it is this: it's not really a revenge story, although you could make an argument maybe there's elements of it that are. That's kind of what's driving Henry for a while, but also they give you lots of choices. Like, what are you going to prioritize as the main protagonist? Are you prioritizing your personal vendetta? It's more of a vendetta necessarily than vengeance in some ways. Or are you going to prioritize your loyalty in your role to Hans, who you're technically kind of like sworn to as a friend, but also just like that's your role. Like you're meant to be his protector and doing what he wants. So are you more loyal to him or to your own personal issues? And as you kind of raise in the world, as you become more prominent, like what's most important to you? And everything from which love you want to pursue, because there's a couple different love interests in there, or what skills you want to pursue, or are you gonna be good, are you gonna be bad? So all those pieces kind of play, I think, really well into the overarching narrative, which ends out with, I think, the only time I played a video game where the idea of a siege of a castle or a fortress being kind of the final thing was so compelling, and it takes like many in-game weeks for that to resolve into the finale of the game. And it's actually kind of like you get a feeling for what that must have been like for weeks, just sitting there slowly running out of food, waiting, for them something to break. The siege has to break somehow. So anyway, all that to say, and there are some moments too where it's like you're at the bottom of the barrel, you're at the end of your rope, kind of a thing, and you have to kind of claw your way back out of it. And I think they do a great job of doing that. All the characters are super compelling, so well written and acted. That helps as well, of course. So yeah, I think the storytelling is superb. To me, we've talked about some games feeling like they could have been a mini-series or maybe a movie or a couple of movies. This feels like that to me. It feels like it could have been an HBO series, and that just hooked me, and I couldn't stop watching. So that's my take on. I should have brought up some footage of it so you guys could see it. But anyway, that's my take on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I know Kyle put a good chunk of time into it. Dan, I know you've dabbled in it a little bit. I think I'm the only one who finished it. So to me, it makes sense that this would be at the bottom of the top list, or maybe it bumps down to the top of the bottom half. But I did have it as my second overall favorite story. I think it is incredible, and I absolutely want to play it again. I just think they absolutely crushed it in their storytelling. And again, this is where storytelling is a combination of things. Yes, it's the main narrative, the overarching narrative, but it's also the characters. It's the villains who have various shades of gray. They're not always just pure villains, because there's a historical element to this too, where you're like, well, I kind of see why they're doing that, even if I think they're horrible because they're going against me. Anyway, It's fantastic. I love it.
Honestly, more games like this would be great. Just like other countries having their own video game studios and exploring their
Historical
history and
immersive
like
sims. Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
or just exploring their history. You know, just learning. It just be a fun way to learn about other places. You know, I think there should be more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, and that's probably hard to do it without spoiling, because Kyle's talked about it at least to some degree, and Dan, you've talked about how you enjoyed it. When you talk about Death Stranding 2 on the beach from a narrative perspective, and I know that some of that comes with, hey, there's the Kojima weirdness, and it's going to be a
Yeah,
matter of subjective taste. That's true of all of these, so you don't have to
yeah.
caveat or hedge those bets at all. Just what do you really think about the story from start to finish that this is telling? Maybe how it continues out of the first game, the way that it ends, all that kind of stuff. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on the overall narrative of Death Stranding 2 on the beach, and how did it resonate with you?
So I've been thinking about this a lot because that's what all I do is think about Kojima narratives. I'm just like, what does it all mean?
Of course.
Let's circle back and think about that
do.
one again. You know,
with the board and all
and
the string and everything.
It is all of that. Yeah, it's very hard to talk about what I want to say with this one without spoilers. I'm going to really do my best to not to do that. But there is a Joel level death in this game pretty quickly, and the rest of the game is about unpacking that trauma and how you are in almost as much denial as Sam Porter Bridges' character through the entire journey until there's a moment of reconciliation or realization that you at the same time have with that character. And to pull that off in a gameplay format and have it land and hit and be emotionally resonant, I think is just like a hat trick I've never seen anybody pull off ever before. Not even like even movies have a hard time pulling stuff like this off. That immediate identifiable journey with the character that you didn't realize that you were on with them emotionally until the moment of realization from the character in the story. And maybe Dan knows what I'm talking about because I have a hard time diving kind of more into it without more spoilers. But like,
Yes.
it is a story about like chosen family and like sticking together and coexistence and all these other like, you know, feel good themes and stuff like that that are packaged in and explored through trauma and loss and dealing with grief and yada yada and all that good stuff. Like, I mean, it hits a lot of really 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 high conceptual like emotional, you know, like themes and stuff like that. And I just think it's so good to explore something like that in such a kind of a high concept sci-fi, you know, package that I don't know, man. I don't know when people are playing the game if they're experiencing it like that. I don't know. You know, I'm a weird guy. I'm constantly experiencing things through subtext and themes and stuff like that. It's just how I'm built. And that doesn't make me experiencing the game better or I just experience narrative better or anything like that. That's just how I experience it. And the way that
I get it.
It was so rich with all of those things, it just felt like a game story that was like built for like people like me who experience stories that way. And it's a game story that like impacted me more as like more time I spent away from it. Like I just kept on thinking about it and thinking about
you
it.
kept thinking about it.
Yeah. Even though I was in it and experiencing it, you know, in the moment as well. Like I was just saying, those impactful moments of revelations and realizations. But like, it's just a game that had impact beyond its credits that I kept thinking about, which the first game did as well. But this game really, really stuck with me, and I really thought the themes were. You know, the themes of bonding and forging and reforging and forgiving and all that stuff. It's just it's super important and a message we maybe need right now in today's society and stuff like that. You know, and I thought that was really important.
Honestly, both of these games.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think they both act as analogs for like the times that we're in.
Yeah,
whether or not
like the first one is
clue,
literally about bringing the country together, right? Like connecting everybody. So like that's literally what the first one's about.
It's in the gameplay too, with players building roads and pathways that others can use.
And
you're doing that in this one.
Yeah, but there's a message of kind of like, I don't know, was bringing everyone together a mistake? You know, like it's kind of you know, so it explores all of that and explores it in a really delicate
to explore.
you know, way. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this game doesn't like take any like hard philosophical stances on stuff. It kind of leaves you to kind of have those questions about yourself and stuff like that.
Sure.
I don't think this game is like preachy or anything like that. I don't think it's trying to like make you feel a specific way. It's just giving you a platform to feel something. I think that that's like art at its highest form to me, is just like, let me feel the thing. Don't tell me how to feel.
Yeah.
Just let me feel it. And you just tell the story, and I will figure it out on those terms. You know, I think it was brilliant, man. I think this game's absolutely brilliant. I think it's like it's. I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite work of his, but it's his best work for sure. Kojima's. I think it's his best work.
That's fair. I think we've talked about that with other stuff too, whether it's movies or shows, and sometimes even games, where it's like, this might be objectively the best one across the board.
Yeah.
But my favorite is this one, and here's why. Like that.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. I get that. Do you think, and I'm curious, Dan, to get your thoughts on it too, because you played it, but Kyle, do you think the fact that you are already such a big fan of Kojima and pretty much everything he makes, does that allow you to enjoy it already out of the gate without any kind of preconceived, like you already have a preconceived enjoyment going into it in a way?
I think that and now we're talking about like biases and stuff like that, which I think there's good biases and bad biases, but like I like this flavor of ice cream. You know what I mean? So like when I go to Baskin Robbins or Brahms or whatever, like I want that ice cream because I know it's gonna like deliver for me. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm coming in enjoying Kojima ice cream. You know what I mean? So it's like so there's a little bit of like my guard already being down, and like there's not a lot of like I'm not worried about getting it. I know a lot of people like show up to a Kojima game going like, am I gonna get this? You know? And like I think you're already setting yourself up for some failure whenever you show up to like. David Lynch said it best, man. Art's not meant to be like fully understood. Like life barely makes sense. It's okay if art doesn't really make sense. Sometimes it's just something for you to experience, and then you make sense of it. It doesn't have to make sense. You bring the sense to it. And I'm not saying this game is like incomprehensible or has no sense or anything like that. That's far from what I'm saying. But like, I appreciate letting the ride just be the ride and not worrying too much about me being in focus and narratives being in focus. I mean,
and I do love that some of the character names are so on the nose that they're almost like the most creative thing. They're so on the nose, like Doll Man.
Doll Man.
He's a man that's a doll, believe it or not. Yeah.
Dead Man.
There's a lot of characters like that.
Horrifically sad story with that character.
Oh yeah,
and you know,
yeah.
So,
I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of the characters in this world, but
yeah, everybody is going through it, man. But they all found each other, and that's what's important, you know. I think that this game is just really incredible. And again, all the weird stuff's at the end. All the stuff I'm talking about is just the themes throughout the story and everything
throughout
like
the
that.
game. Yeah.
All the weird space baby stuff. Yeah, I said it. It's all happening kind of at the end. So
space babies. Now, Dan, you played this game too, and I know that you've enjoyed some Metal Gear Solid, and you liked the first Death Stranding game. So you also came in, I think, with some level of, I know I'm going to like this. So that does help when you go into something totally new, already kind of knowing I'm going to enjoy this, but don't know to what degree. And of course, you don't really know until you play it. But as you look at this game, especially when you compare it with some of the others that we're playing, where does this one land for you narrative-wise? I know it's hard to separate gameplay from story. A game like Death Stranding and 2, they work the gameplay into the story, and I do realize that. So it's hard to separate the two. But what are your thoughts on this, Dan?
Overall, it would be my second favorite after Expedition. It's I mean, obviously Kyle already said everything super eloquently. But like I was saying a second ago with like the first one, I like the first one, and then the second one, it's like I love the second one because it's just even more. Like he built the concept and the base, and then put the blocks
the bones
on top
there,
of it, which is the bones are there, and then he put the flesh on there and the organs. He threw all the stuff over the bones,
squelchiness,
which is what Death Stranding to But the first one is like about bringing like everybody together, right? But then the second one, he's still connecting people, but like it feels more of a personal story because again, he's already laid the groundwork of everything, and Sam's connection with BB-8, right?
BB-8, yeah, the Star Wars droid, yeah,
yes,
that's right.
Yes, no, okay, just BB. I'm just gonna say BB then. Just BB. I don't know why I threw the 8 in there. My mind's not working. But like obviously that deepens and gets more complicated, and you were dancing around it, obviously because spoilers. but it just feels more of a personal Sam story, like even more,
Yeah,
because of like what happens, like you said, towards
it's
the
a very
beginning of the game.
introspective story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like the journey that he's going on is like literally therapy. Like that's kind of like how they frame it
Yeah.
for him, of like, oh,
The
like
whole
this thing
game is
happened, and like,
therapy. It's therapy for
yes.
you, it's therapy for the characters. Like you are
Yeah.
absolutely I'm so glad you said that because it is absolutely a
Yeah.
parallel to like a therapy
Wow,
session.
that's really cool.
Yeah. It's a delivery game with therapy. Like
Yeah.
it's such a unique thing, you know? Like he already created this unique
Yeah.
And
concept of being like,
sometimes you
I'm
stop and you
carrying
have
like
kung
stuff on my
fu
back.
fight scenes with pizza men. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like every once in a
Yeah.
while you
Which, by the
stop
way,
and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I saw that scene. That's one of the funniest, coolest things I've ever
it's the
seen. It's
best.
hilarious.
Yeah. By
Yeah.
the way, it
Yeah.
like most people will never see that scene because the qualifications to hit that scene are like are very specific. So
Oh, it's like it's optional in the
yeah, it's
grand
a
scheme of
very
things.
Oh,
optional, weird hidden thing.
well
Yeah.
then I'm glad I did
That's
it
so
because
funny.
I got it.
Yeah,
So
same. I got it too.
I
Yeah.
did the stuff. I did the stuff.
Gotta do it all, pal.
Um, you gotta do it all.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, it's
Kojima
such a
has never
unique
been a
thing.
slouch when it comes to storytelling. There's never a question in my
No.
mind that it's not a
Yeah.
good story or that the characters won't be intriguing. There aren't going to be mysteries to be uncovered, and maybe some to never be uncovered until I
Hmm.
don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to show you everything. That's one of the
I
things
think he's
I've
very
enjoyed,
David
but also
Lynchian.
sometimes been frustrated by. But then after time, usually over time, I appreciate it more. I'm like, I'm glad he didn't spell everything out for me. I'm kind of
My
glad he
favorite
left some of that.
David Lynch interview ever, and this is Kojima to a T, is someone goes, "Can you explain Inland Empire to me?" And he leans forward and he goes, "No," and then leans back. And that's his movie. He directed and wrote it, you
Yeah,
know, and
No.
like,
yeah,
no, and like
No.
that's Kojima. He's just like, yeah, I gave you what I gave you. You can just figure it out.
yeah. Do with it
Care.
what you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. And I think it definitely deserves a spot, especially based on what you guys are saying. It's vying for one of those top spots. I feel like looking at the other two games, and we'll talk about Clear Obscure too, but I'm looking at Dispatch and Ghost of Yotei. I think you guys both finished Yotei, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I never
I finished
finished
them
it, but
both.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty far into Yotei. Um I like that story. I really enjoy it. Like I mentioned before with Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think it tells at least for me personally, slightly, if I had to compare the two, even from what I've played of Yote, which is about 2/3 of the way through the game ish, based on I went and looked at a guide just to see like how far am I into this thing.
Hmm.
So I still have a big chunk left to go, but I already slightly prefer it over the just narrative of Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's just more um, because it's one character and it's mainly one character you care about. It just feels more compact is the wrong word. Um, it's just a little cleaner of a storyline. It's not trying to do too many things at once, which
Focused.
I loved
Yeah.
about Shadows. It's more focused,
Yeah.
thank you. And I
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
really appreciate what
Mm.
they're doing with Yote. It's got some great emotional moments. It's got a lead character
Yeah.
who I got to be totally honest, I didn't like her for a while, and now I really like her. So that to me by
Yeah.
itself tells me that they're doing a good job with the storytelling.
Well, she's going
'cause
through her
it
journey
starts
too,
out
because
she's going through her journey, and I didn't really like her. I found her to be an off-putting character, pretty one note, and I was like, she's just not that great of a character. But then over time, I'm like, she's a pretty great character. So like that to me tells me they did a good job telling this story. So I think Yote really, really solid to maybe even great storytelling. I really like the story in that one. I prefer the story of Dispatch personally, but not by a lot. But I do prefer the story of Dispatch to it, mainly just because it and this is going to come across as negative, but it's really not. It's been a while since I've heard or watched or played a compelling comic booky story. I think Spider-Man 2 was the game was the last time I played a superhero comic book story that I was fully engrossed in and
Yeah.
loved, whether it's been TV show, movie, or game. So it's been a minute since I've really, really loved a superhero arc, and I just thought Dispatch was such a creative approach to it. Maybe that's been done before, but for me, it was creative and unique, and I love the relationship building. I love the options that you get. I love the dialogue.
Dispatch
Yeah.
reminds me a little bit of like when The Boys came on the scene, where I was like, oh, okay, well, we understand the superhero thing, but like this is
Yeah.
like different because it's someone's unique take on it's super violent, but it's their
Yeah, it's
unique
rated
take on
R.
what the framework of a superhero thing.
Right.
And that's what
Yeah.
Dispatch kind of feels like to me. It's like it's the framework
Yeah.
of superhero stuff, but it's somebody tailoring,
and I
creating
think
your
it
own
does have
little
stiff
world.
competition with stuff like The Boys. Like I know there is superhero fatigue out there, and this is coming and cutting through all that. But it's also has a direct
Yeah,
comparison to The Boys, which for the most
That's a
people
fair
still enjoy.
comparison.
So, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it
yeah.
still
Yep.
stood. I think it still stood up as to your credit, Tim, as something more interesting, even to The Boys. To me, I think it is the most interesting like superhero thing kind of happening right now here in
Yep.
America, at least. So.
Yeah, I loved it. And what helps it too is it has a great combo of drama and comedy, which I always like in stories like
Hmm.
this.
I
Like
think
I
comedy's hard to write.
actually,
I think comedy's very, very, very hard to
it's
write.
so hard to write, and I
And the
actually
fact that you
laughed out
nailed
loud
it
multiple times.
so many
Yeah, in
times,
Oh
this
yeah,
yeah,
one.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
So writing was great, and the gameplay we talked about before. It's surprising. I didn't even expect there to be gameplay, but I thought gameplay was usually good. Sometimes a little. I was like, all right, that's more challenging than it needs to be. Like I don't want to restart. Um, but yeah, overall, I just thought it was a really, really strong narrative. Based on what you guys are saying about Death Stranding 2, though, I don't think it goes above that one, of course. I think I'm you guys can tell me where you think it goes compared to Ghost of Yote. I'm kind of split on those two, and I don't have a strong feeling about it going above or below Ghost of Yote.
I
I
know
just know
it's
I
such a
loved it a
cop
lot.
out to say, but you said you're 2/3 of the game. That game is very 1/3 back heavy story
Okay,
wise.
fair.
So
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
like
Yeah.
and so the fact that you're already enjoying it, like that story just gets better through the end. Um,
Yeah.
so
That's
like
good to know. Yeah.
that's at least just worth bringing up.
Yep.
I don't know. How do you feel, Dan? What do you feel about these two
Between Dispatch
comparing
and
wise?
Yote,
Yeah, a perfect comparison.
I think I
Two things that should be compared completely.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Um, I think I like them. Yeah, that's a tricky thing. I think I like them both about the same for different reasons.
I think I feel the
Like,
Yeah.
same exact way about
That's
that.
exactly it, man.
yeah,
That's me too. That's
So,
why I'm kind of
so
like, I don't care if
yeah,
one's third or
I
fourth or
guess
fifth.
like
I
if
don't
I
care.
because that's another one
Sure.
that's like starts as like I'm angry, and I agree with everything Tim was saying. I was like, this character's kind of off-putting at the beginning of Ghost of Yote,
Yeah.
where I'm just like, and for no reason other than like it's a one-dimensional character. I'm mad and gonna kill everybody, and she had a good reason to.
Yeah.
If someone stuck me to a tree, I'd be pretty
yeah,
upset too.
yeah,
Killed
I'm
my
not saying
family
she
and
and
didn't
killed
have
my.
good motivation, but
Yeah.
like she started becoming a real character, and that realization of that arc, especially as you get to like the third area with like that's really like heavy with the other character, the male character. I
Mhm.
don't want to give too many spoilers and stuff like that.
Yep.
The male character that's close to her.
Mhm.
That story gets bigger and bigger, and her character development gets better and better. But Dispatch, there were moments where I literally thought I was watching a TV show, and I would
Yeah.
lose a quick time event because I'm like, oh crap, I forgot
Yeah.
I'm not like passively watching this. Like it was actually so engaging, like I was watching Invincible's another good example of like
Yeah,
premium
Yes.
rated
yeah,
People
R,
compare it to that a lot.
animated
Mhm.
superhero television going on right now that I think this goes toe to toe with. That's saying a lot. I think Invincible's incredible. I think this
Yeah.
the fact that this cuts through kind of that like noise
Yeah.
and stuff like that and stands on its own and has such a compelling
Dispatch.
universe and is so immersive that I forget that I'm playing a video game. Maybe it goes
Yeah.
above Ghost of Yote for me just because of
Just by a
those.
hair.
Yeah,
Here's the
just by a
thing.
hair.
Ghost of Yote is doing an excellent job of telling a story in a way that I've kind of seen stories told really well recently as well. So it's not a knock
sure,
against it at all. I
sure.
thought
No, no,
Tsushima told a
no.
great story. I think Assassin's Creed Shadows told a great story. So to me, this is kind of like, hey, they're doing about as good, maybe better than all those that I've loved before. So it's not at all a knock on it. Dispatch
No.
felt like I was
Competent.
riding this high of like when I first played The Walking Dead or when I first played The Wolf Among Us, and I was
You felt
like,
special.
I can't get enough of this. This is like that's how I felt as I was playing it.
Yeah,
And it took a while. It's taken a while for Yote to get there for me. So if I had to pick one, because they really truly are tied on my list, I've kind of swapped them back and forth.
Mm.
They're kind of both around that 3, 4, 5 range for me. So I love both of them. I give maybe Dispatch a slight edge. It's probably recency bias because I
give it
played
the
that one
edge.
most recently.
Give the edge, yeah.
Give
I
it
think
the
again,
edge. Give
there's
it
something
the
that felt special about it, and there's a cohesiveness because I'm making decisions, you're making decisions. I don't feel like I'm missing a scene, which like in Walking Dead, sometimes it did feel like that. Like I made a decision, I'm like, I think I missed something.
Dude, yeah.
Like I don't.
Yeah.
Whereas like
You
this, I
pick who
never
to
felt like I
save and
missed
stuff like that.
anything. It
Right.
felt very organic. My choices felt like they were all represented. I feel like that's so hard to write. I feel
There's
like
a couple
that's
of
why
really
this.
cool reveals that I legitimately did not anticipate. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was going to happen. So that
The
was
fact
there's
that
a couple
like
cool
this
moments
game
in
was
there.
so good that most people are like, I hope you guys don't make Wolf Among Us 2. I hope y'all make
Yeah,
Dispatch 2 next. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
Wolf Among Us is the game everybody likes from this entire genre, and like now
I
they're like,
know.
screw that game, make another Dispatch. Like I think that's
How
also
wild is
very
that?
telling of the reception of this game. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. And the one that we haven't talked about yet, just to make sure that we cover everything, is of course the Claire Obscure Expedition 33,
Eh,
which
eh.
we know it cleaned up at the Game Awards, and we've already given it best in a couple of categories here at the current Gen Awards as well. But it's worth at least giving our overall thoughts on the story, and it's really hard not to spoil anything with this game because I thought the setting was so unique. I had seen nothing like it. We've talked about this before ad nauseum. The opening prologue is probably the best opening of a game, story wise, that I've ever played. Maybe not gameplay wise. It takes a little while for me to really.
not a
Yeah.
Once
while.
I hooked into the combat, I loved it. At first, I was like, "This is pretty good turn-based combat. It's
Yeah,
pretty good."
fighting
But
that
then,
mime,
boy,
I
it
was
got
like,
so
this game's gonna be rough. This game's gonna be rough. Like
right.
for me, like
Yeah,
difficult.
I
I got
actually
it really
thought
quick there.
maybe I set it on easy because I don't love the combat. But by the time I got to areas like this Go Blue fight and others, I was like, all right, this combat's some of my favorite combat, action
Yeah,
or
agreed.
Yeah.
turn-based. All that to say, though, we're talking about the story. I thought maybe one of the most compelling, best written and told and visual and all of it openings I've played in a video
Such a
game, maybe
huge
ever.
swing,
But
such a huge swing, such a high concept, huge
yeah,
swing. I gotta
yeah, the
give
whole
him out for
prologue
that.
going
Like
into Act One was like amazing, and then of course the transition from Act One to Act Two is heart wrenching and incredible. Same with Act Two and Act. Well, I won't say anything else. Same with Act Two into the next part. Uh, Also like mind blowing and like what is happening. So like to me, the story start to finish, even though they pull the rug out from underneath you a couple of times, they twist your heart many, many times. And then at the end, the way that you get a chance to help shape things is still all the way to when the credits roll, depending on which directions that you decide to go throughout the
Yeah.
entire game. Um, and I wanted to see here's the different paths that you can choose. So I wanted to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
some of those. Man, the story. I found myself wondering many times, like, where did they start? Like when they first started throwing the ideas around the table as a group, or like, where did you start? Did they start really big and then zoom in small to figure out how they want to introduce
how
this
to
to
get
us, or do you
there.
think they started
Yeah,
small? Like, I have no idea. We don't have to get into that,
I
but
don't know.
that to me, just I'm still so blown away and fascinated by this. This could have been an amazing book series or TV show, and maybe it will be. I think it's supposed to be a live action version at some point, but man, such good storytelling and the
Great
characters
characters,
and
all great.
writing and performances. And I've never been this interested in your camp talk. A lot of games have like, hey, you're back at camp and you can talk to other characters. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'm interested in that. Sometimes I'm not. In
Yeah.
this one, I could not get enough of that. I wanted more and more character conversations because they were all so good. So that was
Well, it
really
helps that the
very
voice acting is excellent. So
Yeah,
that definitely
well,
helps.
that the characters you're checking in with you like, there's nothing worse than
Yes.
like, not to because we all like a lot of us like Pacific Andromeda, but going back and talking to some of those paper thin characters, we're just like, ugh, like we
Yeah.
get it, guy. You're mad about something. I don't know. I don't care about what's going on with your character, so it can feel like a chore when you have to go check in with people you don't care about. So
And I love that like this is all like a love letter and an homage to a generation of RPGs that is like my favorite, but
yeah,
like still stands very much up on its own. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
very
just feel like,
contemporary
oh, this
still.
is like literally like this one game or so. I mean, it obviously takes concepts and ideas of, you know, very specific games, I feel like, but
Yeah.
it's still like the world that they created, like literally the world and what's happening into it in it and what it actually is like wild.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
when you get to the point of like, oh, that's what this is, like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah,
Like and
Yeah.
very
But
intrinsically tied
you know what's
into
interesting though, Dan, is
family
the
and
way it does
trauma.
that. It
You
doesn't
know?
all the twists and the reveals to me still never took away anything. Like in a lot of stories that would try something like this, it would completely
sometimes
drain
the concept
all
gets
that
in
I
the way.
valued.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. And
Yeah,
sometimes the
this
yeah,
to
yeah.
me
sometimes the
it
twist of
didn't.
the concept hijacks the story, and like
And I
that
don't think it
doesn't
did.
happen here. Yeah.
No. And that's a
Well, because like
delicate
you
dance to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it like ultimately it boils. I guess if you're like, I'm gonna boil it down. It's like it's about family and trauma. And
It's actually another game about family and trauma and therapy.
yes,
Actually,
yeah, therapy, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, dealing
yeah.
with
really
loss.
good year
I
for
think we're
mental health,
all
guys. Yeah,
I think we're all feeling very sad and like feeling things
yeah.
these
I
last
think
few
a lot of
years.
people are using video games to tell therapy stories right now. So
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah. I wonder why. I wonder why.
yeah,
Yeah, and the other thing that helps it, and we talked about with visuals too, but for such a small team to create characters that have such expressive eyes and faces
yeah,
in a way that
Hmm.
we're still in a day and age where eyes are just off enough to throw me off in a game's cutscene, or the mouths are just
yeah,
not quite right. I'm not saying it was all
Hmm.
perfectly synced this time. I've been critical of that before, but like it does such a good job at conveying emotion, whether it's a smirk
Oh yeah,
or someone crying or anger. I was like, dude, they crushed it with the expressions and the facial animations, which to
yeah,
me helped deliver the story.
I
It's
also
not
like
just
buy
reliant
into
on
like
speaking.
all the weird animal characters, you know what I mean? Like the weird
Yeah,
creatures, and like I'm like, I
yeah,
love this big guy who flies me around, and I love this
yeah,
yeah.
guy who can
SKA,
like summon
of
other,
course.
yeah, SK. It's just like, and like sometimes that's the stuff that doesn't work for me in these types of games, is like, oh, the big
hmm
buffoon, goofy creature characters join your party, and it, adds some levity, like I'm not
yep,
always into that trope. And I'm so into like all the goofy characters you meet, because like you need the levity so bad in this game.
I
Like
know,
you
Yeah.
needed
I
like
know.
a snuggly teddy bear thing to be like, hey, everything's gonna be okay, and I'm
Like
like,
there's
it's not.
literally a
No,
race of like paintbrushes. It's a race of
yeah,
paintbrushes that like
they're
to beat the
cute,
shit out
but
of
they're
each other.
cute.
Like
Like
that's hilarious.
they couldn't be more
Yeah,
adorable and stuff like that though. Like there's many
Yeah.
moments where the game like goes into like territory, which I just love.
Yeah.
Just a lot of teeter tottering, emotions and highs and lows with this
Yeah.
game. So very special video
I
game.
agree. I agree. It is. There's a reason why people were so captured by it, myself included, all three of us included, and
Yeah,
yeah, there's a reason why, and the story was one of the big factors, if not the biggest factor, but certainly
yeah.
one of the big
Yes.
factors in that,
I
without a
hate
doubt.
that it came out in the same year as Death Stranding 2, where I have to constantly, and I'm not going to reveal it here, I have to constantly have that conversation in my head every day. I'm like, what story
I'm
did I
not
like
gonna reveal.
better? And the fact that I
Yeah.
have to like have that conversation with myself makes me feel unloyal. It makes me feel awful.
Yeah,
I
Kojima
But
actually
that's
just
just
where I'm
emailed
at.
deleted and
Kojima.
blocked
I
all
just
of us.
emailed Kojima Kyle and I told him.
I honestly think
He
it's
just
like,
emailed Kojima.
no, don't, yeah, no. I honestly think it's one of the top five. I mean, greatest video game stories ever told. Top three.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree with
Up
you.
there. It's
I
up there
agree.
for me.
I think it's up there too.
Not many
So
things
that's where we
beat
kind
it.
of come down to our shared ranking. I think because this is usually and we do it mainly because we want to have a list that all of us have some excitement about in the end of the day. And sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, but usually we try to land there based on the kind of default rule that we usually go with. All three of us played and loved the story of Claire Obscure. So without even needing to ask you guys where you rank these,
That should be
I
a one.
think it kind of default lands at number one.
Yeah.
Have no problem
Mhm.
sharing with you that it is my number one, with Kingdom Come as number two and Dispatch as number three. Like those are my top favorite stories this year. Um, and so, and I know you guys love Death Stranding too. That might be your number one story, but I have a feeling Claire Obscure is certainly your top two or three at least. I think Dan, you even mentioned it might have been your favorite story this year, Claire Obscure, but maybe not.
Yeah, for me it would be Expedition, Death Stranding, and then Octopath. That would be my top three.
Okay. Yeah. Claybsco's got to be number one. It's got to be.
I think so. I think this order we already had moved over in makes the
Yeah,
most
order's
sense.
good. Yeah.
I mean, if someone were on the outside just listening to us and they ranked based on what we said, they might have bumped Octopath above Mafia or even Kingdom Come. So these three, you could make an argument it's kind of a three-way tie
It's a
for number
belt.
five.
Yeah.
And then we go to number 8. So if you're just listening, here's what we've got as our top 10 stories of the year. At number 10, we have South of Midnight. Number 9, we have Silent Hill F. Number 8, we have The Outer Worlds 2. Number 7, Octopath Traveler 0. Number 6, Mafia the Old Country. Number 5, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And just to reiterate, those three, Octopath, Mafia, Kingdom Come, pretty even just based on how we were ranking things. I think you could actually put those in reverse order and still be happy with how we talked about it. Ghost of Yote at number 4. Number 3 is Dispatch. Number 2 is Death Stranding 2 on the beach. And number 1, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33 as our favorite story of 2025 in a
We're
year that
sellouts,
had a
guys.
great
We're
story.
all beating the Claire Obscure drum. We're all just indie sellouts.
Isn't that funny?
Well,
that
they sent us a nice
it went
fat
from
check,
being
you know.
this, it went from being this indie darling, that like small team that they could never do this at Ubisoft. What a big dumb corporation! And now, if you like Expedition because it's been heralded for 8 straight
Yeah.
months nonstop, everyone's like, "Ugh, you
Yeah.
again?" You know.
That's because
Yeah,
people don't
it's
have
like saying
nuanced
you're a
thought,
metal
Tim.
fan, but like only listen to Metallica. You know, it's just like, what are you talking about? That's what it
Yeah.
feels like. Yeah, you're
So-
right. Like the story has changed a little bit, where it's just like, yeah, of course you like that game. I'm like, well, yeah.
There's always going to be those people that are like, it's the people that are
Yeah.
like, oh, Final Fantasy VII is objectively not the best. It's like, shut up, man. Like, clearly,
Well, they're
Yeah,
right,
shut up.
but you know, no, I'm kidding.
well,
I'm
they're
kidding.
not. But, you know.
I'm not trying to end.
But that's
end
the thing,
podcast
right?
on a
It's
war.
just-
Let's fight
and
Yeah. No, so it has been, guys, it's been a great year of storytelling. All those top 10 games, and honestly, even our honorable mentions that landed with
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, Eric's Home, Hell Is Us, Age of Imprisonment, Split Fiction, also tell great stories in their own right. But our top 10, I think, now that I'm looking at it and comparing it even to our honorable mention list, I'm like, these 10 are significant, great stories. Like, I think they are the best 10 stories of the year. And we maybe missed one or two. Maybe there's a game that none of us played that has a great story. Maybe Arc Raiders. I don't know. But there's other games that have great stories, I'm sure. But these are so good.
cease
Like,
this.
if you're
Cease
looking,
it.
if you're the kind of person who's like, hey, I want to escape into this world and love these characters, all 10 of these games will do that for you. And we've got
Yeah.
almost every genre covered here, from action adventure to turn-based RPG. We've got this strategic element. You've got horror. You've got just platforming. There's a bunch of stuff here to dig into. And I don't even know what Death Stranding 2 falls into category-wise. Good luck trying to put that in a genre, everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a Stranding.
Can't put
game,
Kojima in a
Tim.
box.
It's a
You can't put it in a
Stranding
box.
Don't put him in a box. So, all right, guys. Well, that does it for part 3 of our Game of the Year 2025 episodes. Next week, we will wrap things up with our favorite overall games. Since we'll have a little more time, we split these last 2. We were going to do, like, combine a few things. We just kind of split them. That gives us a little more time next week also to spend extra time listening to some of our favorite tunes from games this past year. So I'll throw a whole bunch of songs into a playlist, and we'll spend a chunk of the episode just enjoying a jam session, listening to some songs, and then we'll also rank our overall favorite games of the year.
Hell yeah.
And we'll talk about our most anticipated for 2026, because we have 11 months of some absolute huge games that are on the way, and so we'll talk about that as well. But until then, thank you all for watching and listening. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.